this is amazing. I was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Moskin, Cam Water.
For the first time here for season 3. Davis on pole, Vandergren in second. It's going to be sprint round action here tonight. Let's go racing here at Daytona. It was a good start there from Davis in comparison to Vandergren in behind. Cowan's absolutely bogged it up and already dropped out of the top 3 here as they come down towards turn 1 for the first time. There's biffing and barging between Gallen and Cowan. These guys are still going at it after last season. They survived for this time by though. Through turn 2 and 3 they come. Nice and clean, boys. Keep it up as they come up to...
I love riding. It's a real social thing. There's a great bond between riders.
Every weekend, I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other.
Riding to work is a great way to start the day.
Shannon's insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. They offer features riders really want. It's why they're one of Australia's leading motorcycle insurance providers.
Whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride,
Whatever you ride,
ride with Shannon's.
Call 134646 for a quote.
Through turn 1, it was a horrible start from De Bono, who's absolutely bogged it up and gets eaten alive by Dixon and Gowans as they come on through. Through turn 1 they come, and they all spread out around in towards the first sector of the Silverstone circuit. They look all right at the moment. Okay, there's already been a car spun round. That's Jordan Ferguson offline.
Is green, green, green at Road Atlanta here as well. Faulkner did get away. De Bono is tucked in as well. Unfortunately, Houghton is on that outside line. De Bono does want to turn it to turns. He's got the job. De Bono's overtaken. Now can he get Ben Faulkner up through turns 2 and 3? They go round the right-hander, dropping down the hill. Faulkner's out in front. De Bono second. Houghton third. Ratcliffe in fourth. No real dramas going into turn 1.
We've always had a few cars. They're all special. The T-Bird.
Oh, that's mine.
The Combi for when we want to get away. The XR8.
It's going to be a classic.
They're all insured with Shannon's.
We've also got Shannon's home and contents cover,
Which helps protect our automotive collectibles, tools and memorabilia in the home and garage. If you're motoring enthusiasts like us, it's got to be
Shannon's.
Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts. Call 134646 for a quote.
This is amazing. I was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Moskin, Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down to the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tanak and Jamie Dyke just absolutely drove away from us. Hayden trying to go around the outside. This is where he could have just sent it up the inside, but he hasn't went it, which is fair enough. It's very scary out there, ladies and gentlemen. Now let's see if we get a good run. God's just absolutely think about it. It's a really nice move. Blake Delaney had to move out of the way.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to SRW TV, and welcome into the round 5 of season 2 of the Warren Brown Tools Tuesday Supercars series here live from Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace for Interlagos here this evening. I'm your commentator Hamish Munro, bringing you all the action through sight and sound. Alongside with me this week is the great Tyler Sheaf. Sheaf, it's been a while since we've been on a broadcast together. It's been a while since you've been on a broadcast in general. Great to have you back in the booth, and I'm ready to go for some incredible supercars action at Interlagos. It's foggy, the clouds are grey. Could there be rain on the horizon? Only time will tell, but looking at that weather radar, it's saying 99% precipitation, so we may get some rain in this one.
Yeah, g'day Hamish. Yeah, obviously, welcome everyone for Tuesday night V8 Supercars. I'm definitely looking forward to Brazil, but the rain, like you said, it might happen, it might not happen. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't looked at the forecast. Cause I do like a bit of, spice in the race, and I want to know, have a surprise. I don't want to know everything, I just want to see the surprise. So if it does rain, you might see a bit of chaos out there on track.
We've also just been told by race control car 132 will start from the pit lane due to contact lap 1 at turn 1 during the qualifying. That is Ronald Allen, so he will start at the very back of the field this evening as qualifying is underway for these drivers here, and they all prepare to try and charge their way to the front of the field. At the moment, leading the pack, it is Dan Bartish on a 137.260. He's shown good pace all throughout the season. I know you've tuned in every couple of weeks, Sheafy. I mean, Sinker's very high on Dan. I'm yet to be convinced by him, but he is a great racer and he's definitely improving week in and week out. But if he can start tonight with such good pace, he could be one for us to keep a keen eye on. But if the rain comes, I feel like we just have to put our hands up and say, well, it's anyone's game because anyone can make a mistake, especially here. Because I don't know if you've seen any races in the rain at Interlagos, Sheafy, but it is quite hectic and can lead to some, we'll call them controversial incidents happening.
I mean, I definitely know I've watched a lot of Formula 1, so Interlagos, I have seen the heavens opened up and see Max Verstappen was the last man to come from the back of the grid to win it phenomenally. So if something similar does happen like this tonight, it will, maybe have a dark horse of someone that's a rainmaster out there that will come out for the win. But like we said, Dan Bartish, I have raced against him. He has been racing around for a couple of years now, and he's just one of those guys. I think that he's got the pace there ready to go, but just haven't found a consistent form to take everything away. So I'm intrigued to see, obviously, him have a good crack at the win, but there's a couple other drivers out there that will definitely challenge him for the win.
Well, of course, your teammate Ray Oliver in the field for SLM Motorsports, so he's going to be one for us to keep a keen eye on as well as a part of that rookie class. He has taken some positive performances thus far this season as well. Nathan Cadman looks to challenge him at the moment in qualifying. He's on a personal best in the first, second and fourth sectors and a session best in the third sector. So he's the fastest man in the third sector at the moment in the 17 car. As he runs up towards the start-finish line, can he challenge that front pack for pole position as he sets the time? It's a 1:37.5, it's P4, and it's right behind Ray Oliver. These rookie class drivers may go head-to-head tonight. We'll have to wait and see how they run throughout this race. Of course, 40 minutes of racing for both races tonight. They are normal rounds, so drivers are going to get the whole 15 minutes, Sheafy, to start a lap. They can finish it after the end of the 15 minutes as long as they've started it before the end. So they've got maybe 15 minutes and, well, how long a lap's 1:37, so about 16 and a half minutes to get a lap time in if they can.
Yeah, it's so crucial, especially to know your format. Like, I know the sprints, everyone would love to have the extra lap, but with the full 40 minutes only is the one race, we know for sure that if you can get across the line before the 15-minute mark, do set yourself up, because the rubber will be laid down more as well, and there'll be less cars on track as well. So it's just clean air and just take your time, just set into the rhythm, get your tyres right, get your fuel right, and go for the very last lap, I say.
So we've already been told in chat, and also by race control, that Scott Weston in car 052 is pulling out of the race tonight due to some internet issues. So that's one East-West Tasmanian racing car out of the field as Taylor straight lines turn one after getting the toe off his teammate Craig Healy. So he's now to back out of that one quite swiftly, it seems. But a good pace from Taylor tonight, inside of the top 10. Of course, he's a crowd favourite, and Healy inside the 5 once again as well. So he's shown some great pace all season. Got reclassified last week into the AMS class from the rookies class, which I think was quite apropos. Went the same way for Ronald Allen as well, who is, as we said, starting from the backfield. A couple of drivers yet to set some lap times. Greg Johnston, Greg Leake, Brad Anderson, Jeff Arnold and John Van Ray. We'll see if John is participating in the race tonight or not. He's only been out there for, well, around about one lap, and he hasn't done the lap time just yet. As Ray Oliver goes straight to the top. He's got some pace, Sheafy, 137.2, in an incredible effort there to put his SLM car on the pole position at the moment.
Yeah, definitely putting some good lap times in. I know for sure that it seems sliding there like Tokyo drifting, but it can be really good to put down a fast lap, but you can't do that in the race. You've got to be consistent in the race, so it'll be interesting to see what he does in there. He's trying to get his head around the car because obviously it flies in and out, so it's a bit hard to get the consistency in like what a few other challengers, who can stay at home and race every week, but we just see a couple more drivers come in with Greg James and P3. He's very quick as well. I'm looking forward to the challenge though, because there is a few drivers out there that still haven't set a good lap time yet, but they're slowly getting in right now.
Yeah, Jack Alisi, who put the car on pole last week at Daytona, he of course was demoted from split 1 down to split 2, but getting an opportunity to race at the front. Still struggling with those consistency issues as Bartosz goes straight to the top once again, 137.157 for him. We know that Jack's got some pace though. He managed to put it on pole last week. Can he match that pace this week? But he's just got to get his head around those little 1%ers, Shiv. He's got to get his head around being a little bit more consistent, a little bit similar to Bartosz. Keeping it off the road, keeping himself out of trouble, and he should do quite well for himself. But it's a tough learning curve in this car. But it's all racing acumen. It doesn't matter what car type you're in. If you can try and maintain yourself, keep yourself consistent and keep it on the road, well, then all you got to do is try and focus on finding some pace, and it's only up from there. So we'll see how Jack does in his development here tonight as well. Tommy DeWitt a bit further down the field tonight in P15 as well, in behind him at this stage. Matt Fu in P16. Di Feldman P4 for the rookie class, P17 overall. But she is a world away from the top 3 of Brad Mays, Nathan Cabman and Ray Oliver at this stage in that class. And then Tomlin, Edwards, Snedden, a little bit out of sorts comparatively to the rest of their class as well. But I think we're going to be on for a good race tonight, Sheafy. Both across both split 1 and split 2, as 32 and 360 have been called no further action. Something's happened in qualifying. I think we're going to be in for some good racing. I think Interlagos often brings us with some great racing, Sheafy, and I think if the rain does come, which we feel like it will be because of the fact that it is 99%, then it could completely change how these drivers approach their racing.
Yeah, no, definitely not wrong with that. The rain can bring in a challenge and bring a couple other drivers back into the frame of winning the race, but I know for sure, just looking at lap times there with Dan Petrus on pole with a 37.1, which is a really quick lap as well. Like, realistically, if you look at the top 15 drivers, they're roughly second within each other, so it's actually really good. You don't know what kind of laps they are. They could have had a draft, could have no draft, they could have been interfered a little bit into a corner, but once it's race time, everyone's fair and square, and you'll be able to, be consistent, keep it clean, and you'll be up there for the win. So it'll be interesting to see if anyone else that's a little bit more lower in the field that can put in a better lap time and knock off Dan Batiste at the moment, but he's definitely setting himself up really well so far tonight.
So Dan sitting provisional pole, less than a minute left to go now here in qualifying. So a bit of work to do for some other drivers in the field as well. Just have to wait and see how it all pans out for them, who's going to be, as we said, the beneficiary of these moments, and how they're going to be able to take advantage of any incidents that can happen. I think what's going to be crucial tonight, Sheafy, as Nelson goes to P8, he'll have one more lap in him in qualifying. I think what's going to be crucial is surviving lap 1. Is surviving the incident that could ultimately occur at turn 1, turn 3, down at turn 4, and then even up on the sort of mid part of the circuit through turn 7, down towards turn 11 as well. But if you can keep yourself clean on those early laps, you can begin to get into that rhythm and just start to push your way forward. And then start to put pressure on some other drivers as well. But what might be another big test for these drivers too is maintaining these tyres tonight, because this track can often destroy tyres quite quickly if you're pushing too hard, just because of the undulation changes, the on and off camber corners, and how this car reacts to that sort of racing. So it's going to be a big test, I think, for sure, across both splits. And I think it's going to be one hell of a race, though, we're going to have in our hands for Split 2 and for Split 1 later on in the evening.
Yeah, definitely. Tyres are going to be the biggest killer tonight. I definitely know for sure. Even though it's only a 40-minute race, depends on how the drivers take it and how they set up the car. If it chews through the tyres, they're going to be struggling from the get-go. So tyre management's got to be key. Whether when they go into the pit stop they change tyres, it's up to them. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see what strategy every driver is going to choose for tonight's race.
So Matt Fu going to be the next driver to finish off his qualifying. As he runs up the hill towards the start-finish line. He's on all orange sectors, so it's not looking like an improvement for him back in P15. He'll finish the lap just in case. No, he's not going. No, tricked me because of the way you take that corner right on pit exit or pit entry there, but he pulls out of it. Not going to be an improvement for him. Tommy DeWitt, the next car now to come across the line. And I don't think it's going to be an improvement for him either. No, he's bringing it into pit lane. So qualifying's done and dusted for these drivers, and Bartosz has found himself on the pole for race 1 of the evening here for Split 2. So big pressure could be put on his shoulders tonight, Sheafy. And I mean, I think you've only started on pole, what is it, one time in the SFLs after a reverse grid. And what's the sort of pressure that can then be applied amongst this SRW field, starting on pole and just trying to, hold the nerves back a little bit?
I think just try not to overdrive the car. I think that's probably been my biggest issue. I've been on pole a couple of times, and so I've had another on G86 and one SFLs, and it was the second corner, a different track. The second corner for both races, I went too deep into the corner, just trying to get a bit more of a breathing room between myself and the cars behind, and just overdrove the car, completely forgetting about cold tyres. So you just need to be a bit more composed, learn from your mistakes if you've ever been in that position before, and just, take your time, don't change anything up, just drive like what you normally drive and you'll be safe. Last thing you want to do is, put an extra 5% in anything, in your acceleration, your steering, your braking, and, it's over before you know it.
Well, we'll see the starting grid for tonight. Dan Bartosz will start pole with Ray Oliver alongside him, Reg James, Marty Hughes. Second row of the grid, Nathan Cabman, Craig Healy for your top 5 and 6. Jack Alesi, Kurt Normanson, Brad Mays, Rob Baxter for the top 10. Both of the pole sitters for each class are starting on the front row of the grid tonight. Alongside each other, Bartosz for the AMS class, Oliver for the rookies. Brett Taylor, Daniel Clutterbuck will then make up the 6th row of the grid as we find our way back here with Brad Wall, Tommy DeWitt, Matt Fu, Di Feldman, the top 16. Michael Quash, Daniel Sneddon, Jeff Arnold, John Van Ree. For the top 20, Martin Lipsky, Alan Mazzaroli, Chris Tomlin and Wayne Edwards for your top 24, with Greg Johnston at the back of the field, the last car to set a lap time in this session. Ron Allen, Greg Leake, Brad Anderson, Scott Weston. Scott Weston not taking part in this race tonight. Allen not allowed to set a time. You must start from pit lane. We'll see if Leakey and Anderson join us for the grid as well. I mean, all the points you said, Sheafy, I think about the, trying to set yourself up well off the start line, keep yourself nice and clean. That's going to be the tough task, I think, for Bartosz now. You don't want to push too hard off the start. You just kind of ease yourself almost into the race, ease yourself into your rhythm, ease yourself into pushing forward. I know you're going to have cars behind you attacking you, but if you just hold your lines, maybe take slightly more of a either more defensive line off the start, or go for maybe more of a unpredictable line, we'll say. Then that might put off drivers trying to go for moves on the inside on you. So hopefully they got their thinking caps on and they realise it's a 40-minute race. There's plenty of time for drivers to make moves and get positions if they need to. Lights are going to go up though at Interlagos with Bartosz and Oliver on the front row. And the rest of the field will look to scramble to one once again as we are underway for race 1 of the evening, and the scramble begins towards turn 1. Bartish got off the line brilliantly over Oliver. He'll lead the field through 1. But the drivers in behind are now going to have to be careful of any incidents happening early on. And there it is, Sheafy. The lap 1, turn 1 incident has happened. Cadman is off the road. Clutters is spun round as well. They're trying to biff and barge for manoeuvres here and just find any semblance of space that they can as Nomenson gets loose in behind James and Healy here. It's a messy start, but it seems the majority of the field's gotten away nice and clean as Clutters is going again. Cadman is as well. Leakey is driving in the field, and Lipski's under pressure from Johnston, who gets it up the inside nicely as Arnold's been off the road.
Yeah, a bit of a messy start in the first corner, but that is Brazil for you. It is a very interesting breaking point, especially from the start-finish line from there. But a few drivers got a really good gain now. I see Tommy DeWitt got into the top 10 pretty early as well, and Chris Tomlinson put himself into 15th as well, up 8 positions. So a few movers from those first corner incidents, but yeah, just always key to keep it clean from now on, just get into a steady line and try not to overcook the tyres. Just took 40 metres to go.
Yeah, big moves already, as you said, as Mazzaroli and Fu have gone round on the infield. It's held up Wayne Edwards as he's been caught right in front of Fu. No pathway past him. There's Mazzaroli. He's going again. Who was that off the road? Back there. Oh, it looked like, I think it was Di Feldman. It was Di Feldman off the road. So she's been caught out by it as well. So the chaos continues as we begin lap 2. Bartish leads the way. We'll try and get a look at some of those incidents that occurred across lap 1 and just see, you know, who may have been at fault at some of them. It all started, though, from the green flag. That green flag was quite intense for a couple of drivers here, and I think the main one, realistically, was Nathan Cadman. So, as Brad Anderson, I've just seen, has gone off the road as well. So let's watch how Cadman's gone around. He had Clutters near him as they entered turn 1. How does this happen to them? Oh, it was Brad Mays. Brad Mays caught his outside, spun him round, and off he went there off the race start. So not the best way he would have hoped to have started the race. And then I think the other big one was up at, I think it was turns 7 or 8 with Matt Fu and Alan Mazzaroli, which seemed to have just gotten together a little bit. Maybe Alan missing the braking zone. He just tucked it up too late, and round Fu went. Oh, and then that's how Dye got off track as well. So an unfortunate start for some drivers. Others did well, though, to get away, especially Dan Bartish, who has got a hell of a lead at the moment over Ray Oliver.
No, definitely a great start from Dan. Obviously got himself a nice, clean gap between himself and Ray Oliver. And not just that, well, Ray Oliver got a couple of fast cars behind him as well with Marty Hughes and Zach Alisi as well. There's Craig Healy on the back of them as well. So he's got a bit of pressure to try and maintain those lap times because these guys here, you know, after a couple more laps, they definitely want to try and get past him and try and catch up to Dan Pertut before he goes further ahead of him.
Well, he is starting to spread the legs now and run away with it. Dan Snedden, big gains for him this week. Again, struggled in qualifying, but he's already up 8 positions. He got a massive gain last week as Brad Wall is off the road at turn 1, so overextends himself under brakes. Now has to pull that thing back onto the road down a couple of spots. It was a good gain for Snedden last week at Daytona. He's on for a good gain again tonight. Quashi's up 6 as well in behind him. Arnold up 7 and Tomlin up 10. So these are some of the biggest movers thus far in the field. DeWitt's now up 7 into P7. Johnston's up 7 to the front of the to the mid pack. Leakey's up 7 at the back of the field, and Anderson's up 6, but they did also get to pass the safety cars. So they've got a couple of free positions gained in this race thus far. We're only a 10th of the way through it, Sheafy, and it has been chaos already. There's no rain on track at the moment. It is foggy, but there's no rain. There's high precipitation, so we could get some rain. But it almost seems a little bit messy tonight. It's almost like they know that Sinker's gone from the booth, so they've let all hell break loose on track.
No, you got to have fun without the boss man here. Steering them up a bit. So obviously these ladies and gentlemen out there, you know, they want to showcase a bit of entertainment for us tonight, and they definitely brought it in the first 5 minutes. As you see, Clutterbuck trying to make his way back through the field as well. Make the move on Cameron. it'll be close there.
Yeah, Van Ree just ahead of him. It's real risky at the moment. I have just seen as well, Marty Hughes is going slow. I think he's had an off track down at turn 12 possibly, which has caused him to drop outside of the podium and nearly outside of the top 10 as well, Sheafy. Let's see what's happened at the bottom of the hill. So he's come round. Oh, he got real loose on the kink and just ended up in the grass.
That's so unlucky. Unless if you just got a slight little bump, which is out the blue, that's very unlucky there. It's just...
That's so... Oh my God, and then Mays and Sneddon nearly murdered each other near him as well.
Oh,
it's...
Yeah, these drivers here leave no room whatsoever.
No, they do not. Brett Taylor, he's up too as well. Daniel Sneddon's run it wide, as is Mays. These guys are going hard at it. I mean, I'm all for good touring car racing. Sheafy, oh my God, I thought Daniel Sneddon was going to be in the wall then, as Brett Taylor's had a touch from Brad Mays. So that's not going to look good there for Maisie. Taylor's down more than 5 spots. Could very well be a drive-through for Mays coming his way. Bit of Brad on Brad action. It's almost Brad squared between us then, but it's getting real messy out there, I think, and hopefully the rain comes just to clean some of it away for us.
Yeah, I was looking at the weatherman. I called him in, and I think there's no chance of rain at the moment. If the session went on for longer, the rain was definitely coming, but I think within the 40 minutes there shouldn't be any rain, unless if they do a miracle and, oh, poor Draggy all by himself there, but unless if there's a miracle with the wind change, there should be a dry race all the way through.
Cowie in the chat. I could have said that to you, Cowie, to be fair. I could have thought of that. But yeah, he's claiming that Ray will likely get put up to the ends after tonight, which I agree with. I think it's fair. He probably is misclassed a little bit, but, you know, the split 1 is perfectly classed, so maybe it's okay that split 2 is a little bit out of whack, Sheafy, possibly. Maybe it's going to give some hunger to some drivers to fight forward.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when you're not racing against the boys, you might not realise how quick they can be or how much they struggle with certain tracks as well. So, yeah, it'd be hard when you have, you know, 50+ drivers out on the grid on Tuesday night. You know, it makes it really difficult from the get-go to equalise it. But he's done a really good job, to be honest. Like, if you look at everyone right now, they're pretty much all tight and compact, especially from Sneddon down to James and P12. They're nice and close in the battle and, you know, keeping it entertaining.
So Allen getting it past Johnston further back in the field tonight as well. Craig Healy having a battle up here with Jack Alisi. So Jack's actually done quite well off his start. He's kept his race quite clean tonight, actually, which is good to see from Jack. So there is some improvement from him. He's up 4 at the moment, and onto the podium as well. So he's on for a good run thus far. He's got Healy on his heels. Quashi gets it past Brad Mays, but we expect a penalty to come Mays' way fairly shortly as he brings it into pit lane. I'm going to assume he has got a drive through for that moment with Brett Taylor, and then a couple laps to go, Sheafy.
Yeah, unfortunately he's going through. Obviously I can't hear the race control, but I'm guessing that is a drive-through for that early incident, which is very upsetting because, you know, he was in a good position for a good battle as well, but, you know, mistakes do happen, and unfortunately,
I mean, he ran that wide then.
That.
I thought he was going to hit the tyre barrier then. Unfortunately though, I mean, you say unfortunately, but you do the crime, you got to do the time. You know, you get a little bit overextended on yourself, and all of a sudden mistakes happen, and you got to try and keep pushing forward as Sneddon and Hughes continue their battle. They got Quash, Arnold and James chasing them down as well. Arnold doing well now. He's now P2 in the rookies at the moment, thanks to Maisie having to run through pit lane with a drive-through penalty, but he's just struggling to get past Quashy. There's contact. Quashy's going to keep it going though. So they may just let Arnold redress this and then let them play on, because I don't know if there's any malicious intent in that one, but he's kept going, which is good to see. There's Lipsky and Cadman battle further back as well. So there's some good little one-on-one battles happening here, Sheafy. Got some good little toing and froing between drivers on the field, but I almost feel we are one mistake away from a safety car getting called if this is the sort of racing that continues across this one.
Yeah, it's just going to depend where it is. Obviously, there's such a big benefit here, Brazil. There's no walls really anywhere around the track, so if someone's going to go flying off the track, it's going to be very hard to come back onto the track. But as long as someone doesn't do land strong and get stuck in the sandpit, they should be pretty much fine and clear for today's race.
I think the biggest issue is if there's an incident on the start-finish straight, which we've seen before. We've seen it in the SFLs the last time we were here, where there was about 3 or 4 cars that got caught up in it on the straight, and they ended up just being stuck there, and the safety car had to get called because of it. So it's definitely possible for some drivers, as Greg Leake has actually just done that on the start-finish line. Now, he is right near pit entry, so he could probably let this thing roll into pit lane if it is not running. But, well, if he was maybe 200 metres further up the straightaway, we could have had our first safety car of the night.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen the contract and see what happened here. What's the replay to what happened?
So we had Ron Allen on his inside. Oh, he did it all by himself. Oh my God. I think Ron Allen might need a new pair of underwear after that one, Chef. He had his windscreen filled with leaky on that one. Let's watch this back. So running down the straight, Hello!
Oh,
Just right in front of him. Oh my God, that is insane.
Mate, he's just lucky that he's not at Bristol or something like that, where he can just bounce straight back in front of him.
That's right.
Got a little bit of leeway there.
This is from his actual perspective. Oh, he could kind of see him, but he got on the brakes quick though, didn't he? He was ready to plant that foot in the hopes he wasn't going to hit him. He was very lucky on that incident. Was Ron Allen. So Dan Bartish leads the way at the moment at the 12-minute mark. He's got 2 seconds over Ray Oliver in P2, Jack Alisi P3, with Craig Healy hot on his heels. And then Kurt Nominson inside of the top 5. Tommy DeWitt, Daniel Snedden for the top 7, with Hughes, James and Quash the top 10. For your podiums at the moment for both classes, Bartish, Alisi and Healy for the AMs, Oliver, Arnold and Mays for the rookies. At this stage, Taylor, Tomlin, Wall, Baxter all inside the 15 as well. Biggest move of the race thus far, Daniel Snedden up 11 positions into P7 at the moment.
Now, just look at the lap time here of Alisi and Healy. Their last lap was a 140, like 0, compared to Ray Oliver with a 38.2 and Nomison with a 39.4. So they must be really battling really hard. Rather than working as a team to try and catch up to Ray, they looks like they've given up with P2 and decided it's all on for P3.
Yeah, I think for Bartish, he got the start that he needed, and right now for him, the worst thing that could happen is a safety car gets called, and all of a sudden everyone's right on his tail again. So it's could be a tough night for him if that happens. If it stays green, could be an easy night for him as well. Laurie Anderson in the chat with us as well. Tyson McAvoy's out there, Dodsey, Peter Pavovic, Cowie, of course, Stephanie Piccoli, Brad Grant, Trent Naylor in the chat too, Colin Black with us as well. Great to have you all here with us. Car 235, drive-through penalty, contact lap 1, turn 1. So that was why Brad Mays had the drive-through. He actually had contact lap 1, turn 1 with Nathan Cadman, if you remember, Sheafy. So that wasn't even for the Brett Taylor incident. So he may have another drive-through coming his way for the Brett Taylor moment, which would take him right to the back of the field, as car 4 has also had a drive-through penalty for the incident on lap 10. That was Alan Mazzaroli with Matt Fu, if you recall, as well, up in the mid part of the track.
Yeah, no, obviously, having the penalties, it's going to hurt a lot, and you'd be hoping for a safety car to come back in, especially here, 1 minute 40s, lap times there, like one drive-through, you're already at the back before you know it. And no further action too. That incident was 5:15 and 61, so yeah, a few drivers there having a couple of drive-throughs early on, and might be out there all by themselves waiting for a safety car.
I think what may be, I think the lucky part is it's a relatively quick pit lane. You'd have roughly 17, 18 seconds to traverse it, where you could get circuits like Daytona, which could be 20 or 30 seconds for a traverse through the lane. So I think drivers are pretty lucky in that respect, that it is a fast-paced pit lane. It's a short pit lane. I think and I think then the bonus of that is the pit exit and the fact that it cuts out turn 1, 2, and 3. And it's basically just a nice, easy cut through. That's why pit lane starts can actually be quite a benefit at this track, because you can end up coming out in front of the field if there's an incident that happens at turn 1, similarly to Daytona last week. So drive-throughs, yes, they're going to hurt drivers, but there are other circuits that it would definitely hurt them a lot more than at this circuit here. But, you know, it's still a penalty, and you still shouldn't be getting in incidents that get you a drive-through.
Yeah, and I can see Demper too, so it's only half a second ahead of Ray Oliver now, so I'm not 100% sure what's going on there. If he's trying to fuel save,
well, either fuel saving, or is he maybe trying to fuel save for, I don't know if he'd be able to fuel save for a no stop, but definitely maybe trying to fuel save to get this car maybe a bit more further forward after the pit stop happens. I mean, it's quite interesting. He may have caught traffic as well, but no one has gone down a lap yet, so he hasn't even had an off track. So I'm not sure how this has really happened, aside from the fact that he could just be trying to save fuel, but has given up time to Ray Oliver here tonight, it seems. So it's a tough night on the road for some drivers, I think. We're nearly at the halfway point though, so it's only 20 more minutes left, roughly about 24 minutes left in this race, so not long to go, and pit stops are going to come very shortly for some drivers as well.
Yeah, one thing I definitely can think of is tyres as well. Maybe Denver too, maybe pushed a little bit too hard with these tyres, and you know, now he's starting to get creep back in. As you see, Ray Oliver with 37.9 personal best lap so far in this race, and maybe he just stay back and let Dan go ahead to conserve the tyres to come back in later in the stint.
I've just seen as well, Brad Mays is not getting a drive-through for the moment with Brett Taylor. He is getting a 10-point post-race penalty for that moment with Brett Taylor as well. I also misspoke earlier. I said it was Brad on Brad action, but it was Brad on Brett action earlier. So I'm going to blame the fact that I'm tired. That's what I'm going to blame it on.
No, I mean, like, there's 3 different Brads in here, so I mean, you had a 1 in 10 chance of getting it right, so you're not too far off.
That's true. It's true. There's Brad Anderson, Brad Mays, Brad Wall. So, and there's a couple of drivers with, well, I say a couple. There's only one other driver with a B first name, and that is Brett Taylor. So, maybe he's an honorary Brad in the field. I don't know.
Just join the club.
Yeah. Your name starts with B and R. You're in the club at this point. So, Daniel Sneddon, though, inside of the top 10, battling away with Reg James at the moment. So it's a good battle that's occurring at the moment. Jeff Arnold and I think it's Chris Tomlin on the second screen, although I can't quite see. Oh no, you've actually clicked onto the battle that I clicked onto, Sheafy.
Oh, I didn't even know that. It's a bit foggy out there.
That's fine. It is very foggy out there. Very, very foggy out there. So the weather is not enjoying us tonight, having so much fog. There very well may be some rain coming for Split 1 tonight, but Split 2's not looking like it's going to be a wet affair. Mr. Taylor, he's doing all right. Scotty, after the contact with Mays, he's back to where he started in P11 as Sneddon comes through pit road. So Daniel Sneddon now into the pit lane. That's Michael Quash just leading this little battle pack. There's Brett Taylor right there in behind Quashy. So he's up to P9 now. Jeff Arnold. So he's P10. Quashy's in P9. Arnold P11 at the moment. So Taylor's doing well for himself, continuing to push on and try and fight his way back forward. He was up a couple of spots earlier in the race before that bump and run action happened, I should say, but travelling pretty well at the moment is the Tasmanian. And Sheafy, if you're not careful, Sheafy, you may see a certain Tasmanian running the streets of Geelong later tonight as well, so just lock your doors.
Oh, yeah, I'll make sure I lock my doors, I always do, and, you know, be aware of it, but, I just feel a little bit of, a loss into turn 1 there for P24 is number 32, Martin Lipsky, so he just lost a bit in turn 1.
Into Mr.
But,
Clutterbuck.
Yeah, Clutterbuck, he has entered the pitch, so obviously he's trying to get back through the field at the moment, just doing an undercut, trying to get back into the race, but there's a few drivers out there just starting to, I'm presuming that they underfield the car a little bit for the first stint to try and gain the time early on, and now they got to, start worrying about what's the next step here, going into the pitch now, or, try to do an overcut here, so these cars are very interesting to see which way they can go. To see Dan Bertuzzi just maintaining the lead really well.
Of course, undercut can be quite strong in these cars, but if it's a circuit where the undercut doesn't really serve you very well, then you don't quite get the benefits of it. Daytona last week, undercut was massive if you managed to slot yourself into some tow or into the slipstream of another car after your pit stop.
So yeah, there's a Greg Johnston parked on the side of the road too, so...
Oh, he is indeed.
What happened there?
Jono is parked up. Could this be our safety car? This is what happened with him. Oh, he had... There was a car on the outside then. Oh my God, that is a wild ride for Greg Johnston. I think it was Alan Mazzaroli up his inside at 12. It was. Just gave him a little clip at the front, and then in she went. Straight into the barrier. So a big moment for him. He's not towed back yet, Sheafy, as well. He's still there. I'm not seeing any signs.
Oliver jump into the pitch.
I'm not surprised. Could be a free pit stop for him. Nominson as well in. So Jono's there. I'm not sure if RC realise he's there or not. I'm sure they've either, if they haven't heard him, it's because they're deep in concentration of reviewing incidents tonight. But Nominson, Oliver and Brad Wall in pit lane. Bartish is still out on track. If the safety car is called, as Jono's still parked up, if the safety car is called, you'd assume he's going to come straight into pit lane here, Sheafy, and try and get this thing fueled up as fast as he can. If it's called when he's on the straight, I would assume he's just going to try and race up to turn 1, 2, 3, so then he doesn't get pulled up by the safety car as it exits pit lane. So very interesting. Interesting as well that Jono's still there. He's not towed back yet. He is still stuck at turn 12 on the inside of the circuit. So we'll see what RC do, but no safety car just yet.
It's hit Denver 2's going up there now. It looks like the blue car's still there, but just going past it now.
He's still there.
Still there. Jeez.
And here's this Barber Motorsports Park where we've got instead of insect sculptures, it's Jono's car and the carcass of it. So. I mean, it is stuck there. So unless they've told him he can tow and he's not done it yet, I'm not sure. But this is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, definitely not right to be parked there for a couple of laps. He's probably lost 3 laps now. So yeah, best range at least if the mic isn't working. But Dan Patricia's.
But if the mic's not working, Leakey could call him in because Leakey's in the Discord with him. And then as well, if race control might see him and then say you can tow back to pit lane because he's stuck there at the moment. He's not moving. So it's a very odd scenario. He's not reported RC. He's not reported. RC have messaged him, I'm going to assume. So I'm going to say they've told him he can tow, but it's quite odd. Quite odd that he is still sat there.
Yeah, just hopefully everything's okay. We know that Greggy isn't the youngest spring chicken on the field, so maybe something else has happened when he crashed into the walls. Hopefully not, but yeah, obviously not normal for someone to be parked there for multiple laps. Consecutive as well when you look at it. But Dan Patuzzi still had the lead at the moment and just currently just cruise controlling really well. Consistent lap times, that sort of stuff. Is he going to go into the pits this lap? That is the question. And he is. It could give Craig Hill the lead if he doesn't go into the pit lane this lap. So the replay on.
Now watch this back again. Just a wild ride for Greg Johnston into the wall, and it's such a hard impact as well. It is a huge, huge moment down into what is turn 13 of this circuit. So Bartish is in pit lane. Craig Healy, Quash, Arnold have followed. Tommy DeWitt is back out on track now. Well, he's still out on track. P1 on the road now up 13, needs to pit. Hughes and James need to pit as well. Bartish looks to exit the pit lane though in the lead. Ray Oliver's only just entering turn 1. So it's a good gain in the pit lane here for Bartish, it seems, Sheafy, and he's managed to pull further and further away now from Ray Oliver.
Yeah, that overcut worked really well there. I'm not 100% sure if Ray went in early because you presume there was safety cover coming out. If so, that's obviously played into Dan Patu's hand really well. You know, only 15 minutes to go, not too much fuel. Don't know if he took tyres or not, that is the question, but yeah, he's only got the 3 drivers ahead of him. All 3 of them got a pit, and yeah, he's got nice clean air, and this could be his night tonight.
Could very well be. We're having words. So Andrew Proctor is in the lounge checking in with Leakey and Jono. Greg's not at the PC apparently as well, according to Matt Keane, one of our race controllers tonight. So hopefully it's nothing serious and that everything is okay for Greg Johnston as well. Race control just going to obviously leave him there. They can't. The only way they could really remove him, Sheafy, is if they disqualify him, and that would take him off the road. So that may be the case of what race control does at some point. But yeah, it's not obviously not what we want to see. Hopefully everything's okay with Jono and everything like that. But the race will continue on, and well, he'll have the best seat in the house. He's parked right there at the inside of turn 13.
Yeah, you never know. You might see the lead change happen in that corner on the very last lap. You never know.
Could be the place to be as Tommy DeWitt has entered the pit lane. So Bartish now back up to P3 on the road. James and Hughes at the front of the field as well. We've got both screens happening for you. The other one is focusing on Ray Oliver and his chase down of Dan Bartish. 6.7 seconds is the gap, and it's a fastest lap for Ray Oliver that last time by a 1:37.60 for Ray Oliver. So an incredible lap time from him, and he's trying to chase down Bartish over the next 12.5 minutes if he can. As I've just seen, Sam Katakasinas has hopped into the safety car for whatever reason. I don't know if there's another car that's parked up, Sheafy, or not. Maybe you can investigate. Yeah,
there's no one sticking out for me at the moment, but the only obvious one is Greg Johnston, who is parked on the side of the road, but everyone else looks like they're moving. Yeah,
of course. I mean, we know that Jono's obviously dealing with something, so that's why he's still parked there as well. NFA for lap 6, turn 8 for car 308 and car 360 as well. So Barbs is over the radio. I'm not sure what he's saying there, Sheafy, unless you want to go back and try and listen to it. So it's quite interesting as Marty Hughes is into pit lane. Reg James has continued on. Kazinas is in the safety car, but he's not exiting pit lane, so maybe they're just preparing in case they need to call it at some point. And a fastest lap from Bartish, though, 1:37.20 that time by for Dan Bartish, new fastest lap of the race. So he looks to try and continue to pull out this lead. It's now 7.4 seconds, 7.5 seconds now over Ray Oliver in P2.
No, definitely 7/10 gain there. He is on fire at the moment. Obviously, we would have put on a little bit less fuel compared to Ray Oliver as well, so that's definitely going to help as well. And I believe he definitely changed tyres too, because that is incredible pace that he has right now.
So he's taken 12.78 seconds of fuel. So he's taken roughly, what is that? Quick math. Around about 25 litres or so, Sheafy, maybe 26 litres, so definitely enough to take tyres. Oliver, in comparison, took a 19.13 second stop, so he's taken a lot more fuel. So I would say Bartish was definitely saving as he's now gotten past Reg James as well to take back the lead. Reg needs to pit in this race as well. So he'll have to come through pit lane and he'll drop off the podium as Bartosz goes round at turn 12. The race leader spun it round at 12. Where's Ray Oliver? He's right there, and all of a sudden the gap is going to be within 1 second. Could the pressure be getting to Dan Bartosz as he tries to get back up to pace? But he has got Ray Oliver hot on his ginger at the moment and putting massive pressure on him.
Yeah, that's just so bizarre, because he took the lead of the race and he didn't have to battle against James at all for the lead. You know, he had a 7-second gap, and yeah, that's very costly now that Ray Oliver's right behind him. Stick with the draft and just put pressure on him. He knows that he can make a mistake. Good chance he can make another one because he's right there, right behind him now. So, and game on.
And if he took fresh tyres as well, he's now overheated the hell out of him off of that. These cars hate when the tyres get overheated, so he could be struggling for grip as well, Sheafy. If he pushes too hard to get away too quickly, he may make a mistake and the car may give up on him here and give Ray Oliver the lead and possibly the race win. But it's on. It is on for the final 9 minutes. Reg James at the front of the field needs to pit to get home. This is the battle for the lead of Dan Bartosz and Ray Oliver at the moment. Further back as well, Healy, Nommensen and Alesi are battling for the final podium position too with for P3 here. So it seems like no matter who wins the race, it could be Oliver and Bartosz having a chat to us post-race as the class winners here tonight. But man, oh man, this right here has intensified now for the final few minutes of proceedings for this one.
Yeah, not only that, but it also gave James a bit of a breathing space as well. He doesn't have the car right behind him trying to overtake him as well, so to make it nice and calm for him, he knows that if he goes into the pits, should be top 10 when he comes back out. I hope it's not, yeah, should be top 10 with 27 seconds, so with 8 minutes to go. Anything John is the James has went into the pit, so Bartosz has retaken the lead, this time on merit, and hopefully he can maintain it against Ray Oliver.
Hopefully he can, but he is actually starting to gain on Oliver now. 0.6 of a second is the gap. The last lap times from them, Bartosz was a 37.9, Oliver a 38.3. So there's a bit of lap time in it between them. James has exited pit lane in P6. So he might get past by his teammate Tommy DeWitt, but he is going to be well inside the top 10. Alan Mazzaroli is driving around at the moment with a very heavily damaged Tulip racing car out there, so he's trying to nurse this thing back to pits. It seems he's been involved in a couple of incidents. We're not gonna compound that sorrow for him. Man, Bartosz has just split the switch. I mean, he's already built the gap up to about a second, hasn't he? So he's definitely found his footing here tonight and found a circuit that really suits his driving style. Healy, though, under massive pressure from Nommensen and Alesi for this podium position, so it looks to be on for young and old here. Towards the end of this race, 7 minutes to go. It's anyone's game at this point.
Yeah, definitely game on for P3, but also the lead as well is still there, you know. Ray Oliver just saw Dan Bartosz make a mistake, and anything can happen. No, you're not invincible. No one's perfect. You're always going to make a mistake here and there, but it just depends on what the mistake is, and sometimes one mistake can be costly, other times it doesn't cost you at all, so it'll be interesting to see with the last 6 minutes to go, see if anyone else makes a mistake and crack under pressure in the battles.
So as they run up towards turn 1, Healy, Nommensen and Alesi are separated by 0.6 of a second as Healy gets it loose at 1. Nommensen's trying to find a way through here. Alesi wants to follow him if he can. It's the battle of the Mustangs for P3 on the road. Nommensen will have the inside line for turn 4. Can he get this done under brakes? Because Healy is starting to crack under the pressure. Here comes Jack Alesi too. Thought better of it of trying to make it 3 wide down there. As they go 2 wide, still through 4 and now through 5. Up towards turn 7. Who's going to brake first? They bang doors up towards turn 7. And now as well in towards turn 8. Nommensen on the outside line with Healy on the inside. Healy is somehow maintaining position as Alesi tries to tuck it up the inside. This is a fantastic battle. And Jono's finally back at the rig and towed it back to pits, which is good to see. So hopefully everything's okay as this battle continues on. But, I mean, wow, Sheafy. What a battle to the end of this race, and it doesn't look like it's over just yet.
No, they're definitely side by side. That is incredible how well they're still at it right now. Like, they haven't let go ever since turn 1, and this is all we want to see from these drivers week in, week out. Just a bit of a door banging there. You see Alesi just gaining the position.
Did you see the strat then from Nommensen? I don't know if you caught it, Sheafy. He got it past Healy, and then you could kind of tell by the way the car handled through the corner, he just parked it on the apex. He got through, parked that car on the apex, slowed Healy right up. That unsettled him, and then Alesi just snuck it past. So it's a great strat move from Nommensen, who now finds himself on the podium. Jack Alesi hot on his heels, and then Craig Healy in P4, and this battle is intense. Side by side, all the way to turn 12 from turn 1. I mean, it's absolutely incredible stuff from these drivers, and they're putting it, and this is only the split 2 race. We've still got split 1 to go, which is even tighter in the mid-pack, so we could very well see an absolute barn burner come our way. And the X factor of the rain, well, that may decide who takes the victory in race 2 this evening.
Yeah, they definitely continue battling like that. They've opened the door for Brett James to come back. He just caught up by 5 seconds that lap alone from those 3 battling for P3. So anything can still happen. There's enough time for them to continue door banging and let a few other drivers catch up. But they're definitely letting Ray Oliver and Dan Batus run away with the lead at the moment in P1 and 2.
I don't think they're particularly caring about the win. They're caring about the win of this battle. They want to try and win this battle here to fight their way forward. As Alan Mazzaroli, oh my, how has he done this? Exiting pit lane, Alan. Come on, Alan. What have you done? So he exits pit lane, and I'm going to assume he's run it too deep, and it's gone straight into the wall. That's exactly what's happened. Very unfortunate. But Jack Alesi and Nommensen are going side by side here at the final corner. And Alesi looks to take that podium position away from Nom Nom. Is he past him? Is it Nommensen? Oh my God, it is nail-biting stuff. He got it loose and tapped the wall. Here comes Nommensen back up the inside. Oh, the racing has been absolutely epic this week, Sheafy. I'm going to blame it on the fact that you're here instead of Sinker. But this racing has been exceptional. Exceptional stuff in these final few laps.
No, exactly what we want to see from VS Supercars week in, week out. These guys just door banging side by side, keeping it clean and bringing out the entertainment as well. Like I believe all 3 of these guys are smiling with big grins at the moment because they're definitely putting on the show, and they should be very happy with their driving. They're doing it nice and clean, and putting a lot of pressure on each other. You see, Nommensen, we've got someone on the outside.
Yeah, that was Mazzaroli, who's a lap down, so he's still trying to nurse that car around once again. But Nommensen is right there. Do we think he maybe waits for the final lap, Sheafy? Because we've got to determine where is Bartosz. He's just here at the second to last corner. Are we going to have enough time for one more lap plus this final lap possibly? No, so I think this is going to be the white flag. So it's going to be one more lap for Dan Bartosz and Ray Oliver at the front of the field as they cross the line. Jack Alesi has got 1 lap to survive ahead of Kurt Nommensen and Craig Healy. And as we said, it is nail-bitingly close. I mean, I'm down to the nubs on my fingers right now, Sheafy. It is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, no, these drivers here, they're definitely going to be, setting each other up. What corner do they believe that they can outbrake each other? Now, that's the sort of question they're going to ask each other. And I've seen Jeff Arnold just dropping down in the field, so he just went into the pit lane and he's been driving really well. So hopefully everything's A-OK for him. But this battle for P3 is on. But in saying that as well, the lead as well changed. There's only 0.8 between the leaders as well. So anything can happen at the moment, and anyone can take the win, if not the podiums as well.
So one small mistake could cost you around here. If you're a millimetre offline, you can end up in the wars at this track. They're approaching some lap traffic of John Van Ree, who I don't think they're going to catch before the checkered flag flies in this one. Only a few corners left to go now for Dan Bartosz Ray Oliver's 0.5 of a second behind him at the moment. And as soon as they cross the line, we're going to have to dart back to the P3 battle just to see who comes out on top in that one. But as they run up the hill, it looks to be mistake-free on the final lap here for Dan Bartish. He started it on pole. He led nearly every single lap in this race. And as they run up to the start-finish line, Dan Bartish will take the win overall here tonight. And for the AMS class, Oliver will win it for the rookies. And Jack Alisi looks to survive in a drag race to the line with Kurt Nommensen by barely anything, 0.08 of a second to the line. Alisi takes home P3. Healy in P5. Nommensen separates him in what was arguably the battle of the season. Reg James P6 in the end. DeWitt up 7 into P7 himself. Snedden up 10 into P8. Quash up 8 into P9. And Brett Taylor inside of the top 10. Hughes and Wall for your top 12. Jeff Arnold, who had to pit again at the end of the race. Nathan Cadman will make up the rookie podium here this evening. But for Dan Bartish, it's an exceptional victory for him out here at Interlagos.
No, he'd be very proud of that. We know that he made one mistake, but he kept it nice and clean for the other 99% of the race, and he should be very proud of winning that race, especially against Ray Oliver as well, who'd end up catching up to him and putting some pressure on him.
So an exceptional run from these drivers in the end. We await the provisional results to be able to go on your screen here this evening so we can quickly show you before we jump over to the split one session. We might just read them out actually instead of waiting for the graphics. So Dan Bartish takes the win ahead of Ray Oliver and Jack Alisi on the podium. Likely going to be Ray Oliver's last appearance as a rookie in this race. He will get reclassified up to AMS, I'm sure, next week. Nommensen, Healy, the top 5. James DeWitt, Snedden, Quash, Taylor, Hughes, Wall, the top 12. Arnold, Cadman, Mays, the top 15. Clutterbuck, Allen, Tomlin, Baxter, Fu, the top 20. Lipsky, Edwards, Van Ree, Anderson, and Feldman. For the top 25 with Alan Mazzaroli, the last finishing car. Greg Johnson, Greg Leake, non-finishers in the end for this race. What we are going to do, though, is we're going to take the time now to make the change over to the split one session. Hopefully our class winners of Dan Bartish and Ray Oliver come for a chat with us here this evening. So in that way, obviously, we can have a chat to them, which is what we want. So we'll turn down the good old timer. We have got Ray Oliver, who is about to chat and catch up with Tyler Sheaf after his rookie class victory tonight.
G'day Ray, congratulations on your win tonight. P2 overall, but P1 for the rookie class. How was it tonight for you?
I was good. I had somebody do my fuel calculations correctly. But no, it was good, Tyler. It was actually not too bad. Did some setup work and we're working it for the long run, so it almost paid off. But yeah, still learning and still getting my head around these cars.
As we said, that you're pretty close to Dan Bartish before you entered the pitch, and when Dan Bartish came out with a 7-second lead, was there an error in the pit stop by chance, or just he's doing the overcut on you?
I've got a funny feeling that he absolutely attacked the entry line where I didn't. I just blended in, but I did make the stuff up just before that and the lap before, so I lost about 2 seconds or 3 seconds. So it was only 3 seconds in the pits, but yeah, it is what it is. But as you saw, he was pushing too hard at the end there, and if I'd had an extra lap, I would have had the tyre crossover right, and it would have been a different story.
Definitely entertaining to watch, and obviously, pretty proud tonight. I know you had a bit of trouble last night, but what's your goal for the rest of the season?
I just keep learning. These things are an absolute pig to drive, and I'll slowly get my head around it, but it's just seat time. Again, tonight I just came in very late and got things done, but it's just trying to piece it together. That's all it is. It's learning.
Absolutely. And obviously for next week as well, you got a bit of a challenge as well. I believe you got upgraded to AMS, but rightfully so. But what's your thoughts on tonight? Was it better to do an undercut, better to do overcut? Like, what's your thought on Brazil in general?
It's a tyre killer. I'm surprised that we're actually here for it. But it's just one of those things that anywhere you go is going to be a tyre killer with these. But this place is actually more so than pretty much anywhere else. So after 4 laps, we were seeing massive drop off and degradation. So it was a case of just trying to get past that window and then keep it running. And that's the hard part. And I think the rest of the season could be very similar. But yeah, just to get rid of this one's actually a good one.
No, that's good, and obviously, there is 4 more races to go, and hopefully everything goes well for you. But who do you want to thank for tonight, and who brings you on board every week?
All the SLM boys that have done what they've done, Sud Speed, and just a shout out to everybody that's actually putting everything together sim-wise. We all do it, we all love it, we all have frustrations, but it's everybody working together gives us the chance to actually do what we do. So we've got to think about that as a whole.
No, that's fair enough, and obviously good luck for the rest of the season for you, especially as well. You race tomorrow night and Thursday night as well, so hopefully you have good luck with that, and looking forward to what you do next week as well in the V8.
Yeah, cheers, Tyler, and hopefully tomorrow I'm not turning into the solo canoe coming down Bathurst in the wet.
No, it should be entertaining tomorrow night.
That it should.
All good. Thank you very much, Ray.
All right, next up we have got Dan Bartish waiting in the wings after his race victory here this evening. Dan, a race win next to your name now for Interlagos. I'm just going to assume that we cut you off talking to Ray Oliver then. So
that's all right.
It's a classic move of our part to do that. But
it is.
Mate, phenomenal stuff. Great pace at the end of it, but you also proved that you had some good strategy in there. You saved a bit of fuel to get yourself a good gap coming out of the pits. But what was that moment at turn 12? How in the hell did you spin that thing round? And I mean, have the jocks turned a bit brown after that one, knowing how close Ray got to the back of you?
Yeah, mate, it was, I don't know, I think I might have just got that AstroTurfy stuff on the outside, and I've spent the whole week concentrating so hard on getting these things off the corners, and I did such a great job all night until that one corner. But anyway, still ended up with the win, so that was good.
Yeah, mate, talk us through your preparations for this track, because you proved that you had some fantastic pace out there tonight. What's been the change? Because obviously you've struggled with a couple of inconsistencies this season. Is it more or less focusing on getting longer runs in to maximise on that consistency, and has that then helped you find some pace, or do you just think you maybe gelled a little bit better with this Interlagos circuit than some others that have come up so far?
No, 100%. It's all in the practice, mate. Different mindset this week. I think I've been chasing lap time, and once you overdrive these cars, you don't find the lap time. So back to just trying to be consistent, and the lap time came, which was good, and it was consistent all race. I've had some good pace all season, but inconsistent races. So the goal was to run a full race consistently, and that's what I did, and it brought me out on top. So I've got to shout out to the old man, because he's been up me for the last few weeks about that, and he's been really steering me along and helping me along and giving me some good tips on how to get these things off the corners, and it's worked this week.
Well, mate, it has been an exceptional performance and a race win to boot as well. Let us know who helps get you out on track. Anyone who want to give a shout out to, for myself, Sheafy, and the rest of the league. Congratulations on your race win here at Interlagos this evening.
Yeah, thanks, Hamish. So, the team at ETS Motorsports, Proline Esports, Eastern Tour Services, Big Matt's Computer Services, and of course my old man, who tunes into all the broadcasts. He watches every week. He absolutely loves it, and he's really helped me out with these cars, because I was struggling. So a big shout out to him this week.
Well, mate, best of luck next week for round 6 when we're racing at VIR. Look forward to seeing how you go there, and if you're able to manage to continue this run going. It's a tough track next week. Consistency is going to be key, so if you can get those consistent race runs in during your practice across the week, I feel like you've got to do quite well for yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Hamish. Hopefully talk to you next week.
No worries, mate. Thank you.
Hey, good to see you, Sheafy.
Good to see you too, mate.
See you, guys.
See you, buddy. Well, Sheafy, we're in now for the Split 1 session as well. I hope you've remembered, A, to change servers, and B, reload your Video Ninja, because we need to reload it every time we change servers, unfortunately. But let's break down the racing at the end of that race. That 3-way battle for P3, I think that was honestly one of the best battles I have seen all season here in SRW, at least for Tuesday Supercars. That was incredible. I mean, they're going side by side. It seemed to me like a cookie cutter bog standard touring car battle, which we're not seeing a lot of, you know, banging doors, tucking the nose up as best you can, trying to get it done under brakes, and just running side by side for nearly a whole lap and using the car to your advantage. It was absolutely incredible. Hats off goes to not only Jack Alesi, who came out on top in that battle, but to Nommensen and to Healy for giving each other so much racing respect, even with banging doors, but actually having just a great race to the checkered flag. It was amazing.
Yeah, I think they all got to keep their heads up. I think all the boys and girls out there, they put entertainment out and they kept it nice and clean. It didn't look like a rookie class or split two class of racing. It was actually a nice, clean split one standard race. So, you know, they should be very happy with that. Like, it was really good, nice, close racing, competitive, good strategies as well. I don't know if anyone from split one was watching that race. If you were, you do need to take a couple of notes in, because I think a few of the drivers got some real good strategies in, which can be beneficial for this split.
Well, mate, I'm excited now for split one because we've had some great racing so far throughout this season. James Scott has been the man to beat. The finish that we had last week between him and Blake Warboys, well, there's only one set of words to describe it. It was a bee's pecker, pretty much, between them on the line. There was nothing in it. I don't know if we're going to get the same tonight, because obviously the draft train is not as strong at this track. Daytona's built on draft train. This track is built on keeping your tyres cool and keeping your head cool as well. But if the rain does come in this one, which maybe you can check the radar for us at some point just to tell us if we may be getting some rain, but man, we could be in for a barn burner.
Yeah, just like you said, if the rain does come, and I did look at the weather, depending on how far forward we go in the timing, we could hit rain. So yeah, these drivers here, you know, all happy and dandy on the drive right now, but you never know, could be the last 5, 10, 15 minutes of the race and all of a sudden the heavens open up. So I'm intrigued to see what happens. Even if it doesn't happen, so be it, but yeah, it should definitely put some entertaining racing on, because I did watch last week's race and that was really good, that finish line, and nothing better than racing someone across the start finish line for that win. So hopefully a few of these boys do the same thing tonight.
Well, of course, we've got our pro class out there and our pro-am class as well. I've noticed Dave Arney spent 1 week in split 2. He is now in split 1 as a pro-am. Rightfully so, I think. I think he was, and Cowie admitted, I think he was misclassed last week, being put into split 2. So he's up into split 1 this week, where he should be, battling with guys around his pace as well. I mean, it's going to take time to get maybe split 2 organised of who deserves to be in what split, because does it maybe come down to, Sheafy, inconsistency more than raw pace, and that's how you determine your classes? Because, you know, we know, whether it's through class racing here in SRW or multi-split racing in other series, where the lower you go down the totem pole, it's either drivers have got less pace or they've got less racecraft. And that middle, that middle split or that middle class has often got a little bit of both, but one more than the other still. So it's, you know, do we think it comes down to, for classifying it for next season, that drivers in rookie class are maybe a little bit more inconsistent than other drivers? Because that's probably the fairest way of doing it, because it shows how good they go across a race. And then, you know, AM's probably a little bit more consistent, but maybe slightly less pace. I mean, that could be the way to go.
It's just so difficult. I mean, everything can change and vary at the same time. Like, some drivers might have a good setup, 1 week, and a bad setup next week, which, shows their consistency, show their lap time, Tracks are the same thing as well. So when you start throwing everything left, right, and center and putting it together, yeah, some people will blow up the competition and smash people, in the race, and then the week after they might be at the very back because they got nothing. They haven't got the head around the setup, or they just don't like the track at all. That sort of stuff. But that's the difference between people in that split 2 compared to the split 1. Like, most people that you see in the pros,
how in
would hurt.
How in the hell has Dylan Gray done that?
I don't know.
Jesus, that was wild.
But like I was going to say, the people who are pro and eng, normally they're quick in any car that they go in, or they just got a specialty of that car. which put him on a different level. But we put the replay here. See how he managed to do that. Like, going to the pitch.
Oh, he clipped the inside wall. He clipped the
carrying
inside.
too much speed.
Yep. He turned in just that little bit too tight, hit the inside wall, and then that thing was absolutely dismantled down there. That is one of the wildest crashes I've seen at that part of the track, at least. For Dylan Gray back in pit lane. James Scott's still out there. Only a couple of seconds left in practice before we head on to qualifying.
And the good thing about it, it's practice and you practice and you practice and then you try and test the limit, you know? Like what Ray said before, what Dan Patus did, he gained 3 seconds from pit stop entry alone. So you can see the beneficial, especially if you're in a close compact battle. Every second counts, and that's what he's trying to test. And if you manage to pull it off, he knows where to go in the race to gain the extra 1 or 2 seconds in the pit stop.
So practice is done and dusted. Qualifying about to be underway. And I feel it was kind of proven in race 1 that qualifying is going to be quite crucial tonight, I think. If you can qualify up the front, you're going to do yourself a benefit of maybe avoiding that lap 1, turn 1, or turn 3, or turn 4 incident that can occur. Or if you're further back in the field, you may not reap those benefits nearly as much as other drivers will.
It's not a complex first corner. Like, some people forget, like, what driving line you got to do coming to the first corner. And the last thing you want to do is see, was it a Maldonado or whoever was a Spa when they started P8 and they took out everyone in the top 5. So, obviously these guys here, they're split 1, they're more experienced. They would have put the practice and effort and time into this track not to make that mistake. I wouldn't be surprised if they walk away with no crashes in turn 1, but you never know. It's someone might make it 3 wide and to make someone a bit more uncomfortable and lose the rear end, and they're coming to a car crash. But split 2 had no safety car. Split 1, depending if it starts raining, might cause a bit of chaos. But currently at the moment, no rain predicted for qualifying or the race, so you've got to wait and see.
Well, what it could also be is how intense is lap 1 going to be? How many incidents are we going to see happening across lap 1? That could be the determination of if we get a safety car or not. Obviously, it was quite messy in split 2 for the first few laps, and they started to ease out once the fog ironically, as the fog got denser, the field decided to, undense themselves. But as Stone Street will lead us across the line, he'll begin the first lap of qualifying for himself. There's a couple of cars up ahead of him, including Dylan Gray, who's all the way down at turn 4. So he'll be the first driver to finish his lap in qualifying here. But just has to make sure. And one of the other tests I think we failed to talk about in split 2, which may be more so here for split 1 as drivers look to find more grip or more speed across this track, is the incident points of this track. The off tracks are very inconsistent around here, and you need to know it down to an absolute T. Dot the I's, cross the T's of where those 1X's are, because it could ruin your whole lap in qualifying if you continue to make those same mistakes, and it can also then ruin your race later on if you keep on getting those 1X's at inopportune times and you eventually get to that 17X and having to drive through pit lane.
Yeah, I think the last race only 2 drivers hit over the limit and got to drive through. So
to be fair, that was Daytona. To be fair, so there was a couple of incidents happening.
Yeah, like Daytona, I think I'll just come across every track I find. Most of them are pretty lenient. It's just sometimes when you attack it a certain way, that's where you're going to get your pins, your 1X, and it can hurt a lot. Thankfully, with this track here, there's no rolls around them, so you can't get a 0X and ruin your lap from touching that, which is beneficial. But yeah, the one thing I just don't like is 1X that ruins your lap. You're not really cheating from doing it. You actually kind of lose time from doing it, but yeah, interesting to see what these boys do. There's a few lap times already coming through. A 35.5 from Blake Wallboy's first lap out. That is phenomenal.
He was on nearly all purples that lap, Sheafy. That was an incredible time from Warboys. And you can see the strategy of these drivers as well, trying to hang it right against the wall to get the side draft up to the line. Lawford goes P2, 136 dead. What sort of lap time can we see from James Scott this evening when he tries to challenge his pole position as he comes up across the line to begin his run here in qualifying? It's right on board with him for this lap, because this could be a mega lap time now from James Scott. Blake Warboys is back out on the circuit after towing back to pits to end out his qualifying run after that first blistering lap of a 135.5. Can we see a 34, Sheafy? Can we see them trickle their way down towards the top end of the 34s? I mean, I almost feel anything is possible if they get into doing some long runs, emptying the fuel, coming in, get some fresh tyres later in the session, and then push these cars to their absolute limits on low fuel and tyre wear. But I suppose they're probably running qualifying sets which only have enough fuel for maybe 3 laps.
It's a struggle. I think for them to get 34, you probably have to have the draft, and you probably got to get it at the right time, at the right place as well. And that's coming off the last corner. Approaching the car in a good distance and getting 12 of them. So I know a few of the boys could get into the 35, but to get into the 34, that'd be the lap of God, I reckon. Just pulling that off.
At the moment, James Scott looks to be on for the lap of the gods. He's on purple sectors in the first 3, a personal best in sector 4 as well, as he runs this up towards the start-finish line to end out this lap. What is the time going to be for James Scott as he crosses the line? It's a purple sector in the final sector. It's a 135.17 across that lap in a mega effort from James Scott. He pulls it up. Blake Warboys begins his next run as well, so he's going to have to try and get into the range of a 35 dead if he hopes to put this car into pole position. John Gallen is on all green sectors. He hasn't set a lap just yet in qualifying, so we'll see where this time's going to put him as he comes around the final corner and up towards the start-finish line as well. Maybe expect a higher mid-pack tonight for Gallen, maybe around about P12 here, Sheafy. He goes P7 actually, so better than what I thought. That was a good lap time for him, 136.6.
I mean, he's not too far off the car ahead of him either, Jason Douglas, who shows some real good pace as well. So, it depends where he goes. If he can get a 12, someone might gain a couple more tenths and, keep a top 10 start. I know a few boys are still warming up into, their qualifying. There's only 11 drivers so far in the 36 or below. So, yeah, they're just slowly getting their feet up and getting the rubber down, ready to go for their fastest lap.
Well, Troy Stone Street could be one of them. He started inside of the top 10 quite a few times this season already. And as he runs it up through to begin the 3rd sector of this circuit, there's definitely some time in it for him, but he's yet to make get a time here in qualifying. So the front runners are all either in pit lane or they're on an out lap at the moment to begin their next run. Halfway point of the session now, 7.5 minutes into it. So still 7.5 minutes for drivers to begin their lap times here in qualifying and begin their charge towards a possibility of pole position. Of course, it's all greens for Stone Street because he can only go better than what he's done, being that he's not set a lap time yet. As he runs it up towards the start-finish line for WKMP Sim Sports, could he slot this car inside of the top 10 and put some pressure on some of those other drivers already up there as he crosses the line? What is it for him? It's a P10. It's a 136.68, just off the back of John Gallen, but there's definitely some time in it for Stone Street.
Yeah, the Pewter boys are starting to warm up now and just slowly starting to knock off a few others in the top 10. You see Jason Douglas in P8, Moore 7th, Moore 6th. So they're starting to warm up, but Jaden Green in the what do you call it, the silver class again?
Pro-Am.
Pro-Am, yeah. There's no P5 at the moment, doing really well. A couple of tenths ahead of his next challenger, so he's doing a really good job. And who knows, if he can find a tenth or two more, he might sneak into the top 3.
Now, I know that Sitka and myself have spoken about it now for quite a few seasons. The irony and the rivalry of Billy Mole and Ryan Mueller, how they're almost like long-lost brothers out on circuit. They are mirror images of each other. Very similar on pace, very similar on skill level. Both run a blue accented car, one of them being a white and blue car, the other a black and blue car. They're P6 and 7 at the moment on the grid here, Sheafy. So Mole's in 6th, Mueller on 7th, proving that they both are together once again. I think the differential that's been shown between them both, especially last season, is that Mole just either needs to find a little bit more luck on the road or maybe a little bit more consistency, and he'd be bringing the fight to Ryan every single week.
Yeah, no, there's nothing better than when, you've watched the series and, season after season, to see a couple of drivers roughly battling with each other week in, week out. It's great to see, and I think it's fun for the boys as well. They get a little bit of bragging rights. Not everyone can win a race all the time, but if you can win a challenge against one of your rivals, I'll take that with both hands any day.
I think not just that. I think as well the fact of if they're your rival, as long as it's not a heated rivalry, not a rivalry built from digest, it's built from respect, racing respect, and you're both going tooth and nail at it on track. A little bit similarly, to the Van Gisbergen McLaughlin rivalry, and even Lowndes and Kelly in the past as well. So, that sort of rivalry being built up as Wallboys brings it back into pit lane. It's what we want to see. We want to see some fair racing between drivers where they're so closely contested that, a rivalry of performance almost begins to get built, and there's a foundation for something special from that. So hopefully they can continue fighting on forward throughout the night and throughout the season as well. Tonight is the halfway point of the season, round 5 of 9. So only 4 weeks left after tonight of season 2 of SRW, and it has absolutely flown by us, Sheafy. The fact that we're already at the halfway point makes you feel like we're going to be at the end of season 2 before we know it.
Yeah, time goes fast when you're having fun, and I just finished uni last week, and before you know it, you start another semester within 3 weeks, and you're like, oh, there goes my break, But same thing with racing, you're just having a lot of fun, and before you know it, week 9 is over, and you're twiddling the thumbs for the next couple of weeks waiting for season 3 to start, but it's nothing better than that.
It's like, even for the admin of the series, or for people like me or other drivers in the field who are admin for other series outside of SRW, you get to the end of your season, then you think, oh, we've got a couple of weeks now just to have a rest. I mean, you never have any rest between them. You're always doing stuff as an admin, but as Stone Street goes P5, before you know it, you're back again for round 1 of the next season, and it's, you're going racing again, which even as a broadcaster within SRW or a broadcaster for other leagues as well, it's amazing how quickly your free time just goes away. Eventually you're back at the grind again, and you're back onto it and showing off some fantastic racing, which I love. I love obviously broadcasting, and it's nice to have that short break every now and again, just because it's good to just reset the battery a little bit and look on. But then you get back into racing, and you can get some phenomenal narratives happening, and you're excited for it every single week, which I am every Tuesday and Sunday here for SRW as well.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes a few other drivers out there in real life, they get to drive, 100 plus times a year. I know dirt racing, especially over in the States, there's racing every 3 days almost, and, I couldn't imagine doing it in real life, travelling, getting your car ready, race, and just do it like every time for like 6 months straight, and thankfully at home you don't have to travel anywhere. You just load up a track, and before you know it, we're in Brazil, you're in Spain, you're in USA. It's a lot more cheaper as well compared to real life, but obviously racing every week, few drivers love it, and some drivers out there just race every day because they just do it for fun, and that's what they look forward to every weekend.
No, that's exactly right. Exactly right. Qualifying, a couple of minutes left in the session at the moment. James Scott is sitting provisional pole position of 135.17 at the moment. Blake Warboys is P2, 135.52, the only 2 drivers to get into the 35s. Angus Lawford's done a 136.06 at this stage, so he's the closest to a 35 at the moment. Billy Mole, Dylan Gray inside the top 5, Choice Stone Street. Jaden Green is provisional pole at the moment for the Pro-Am class in P7. Overall at the moment, he lets Jace Douglas get past him. He's P2 at the moment, so maybe not as smart of a strategy, but maybe he's as well. Doesn't want to give him any slipstream, help him gain time across his lap. I'll tell you what, Cowie has got to find some pace here. Otherwise, he may have to start looking at himself and say, hey, I might have to drop myself down to split 2, just because he seems to be struggling for the pace tonight at the back of the field.
Yeah, I reckon it could be track related to Cowie. Like, it's not usual for him to be that far off the pace. Like, I know he has, I should put in a better lap there, which put him up to P24, but still probably a half a second away where he roughly wants to be, pace-wise. But obviously, just try to get a clean lap as well in qualifying, so crucial, especially if you set yourself up for one lap. You know, if you set yourself up only for one, you get a 1x. You gotta pull over, tow, start all over again, and before you know it, 15 minutes is over.
It can go by very quickly. His teammate, though, who was that just gave him the tow? I think it might have been Troy Dooley. Helping him along there, giving him a nice tow at the end of that lap. He has gone P24 to a 1:37.3, but he needs to find some more pace to be able to battle up the field. Andrew Rushworth off the pace tonight. Really struggling on this circuit. Now, I know he'll be racing later in the week on a wet variant of Interlagos, but he is struggling for pace out there, it seems. That may be might just be the setup of the car, because he might have a wet setup on the car in preparations later in the week, where he's, trying to prepare his car and get himself set up for, with a race run tonight. So that could be a tough run on the road for him out there in P23 at the moment.
Yeah, like I said earlier, setup is key, and if you don't have the right setup, you're not going to be comfortable in the car, and you can be way off the pace. And I think if you look at the position at the moment with James Scott and Blake Warboys, they're on a league of their own compared to everyone else behind. Only one's in the 35s. Angus Lawford almost got it into the 35, but just, yeah, it's very tough, and I think a few of the boys are very comfortable in the cars and others aren't.
It is definitely a tough track. It's a tough track to get used to. Doesn't suit everybody's driving style, I know that. It's a tough one to do for sure. But yeah, as qualifying comes to an end and the final lap,
so that was a good lap from
it was. It got up to P14, which is good to see.
Yeah. No, just saving it for the very last lap, which is obviously the best way to do it sometimes as well. More rubber on the track, and yeah, good position gain.
It was indeed. It was a great position gain as well. And I've just seen I need to change his class actually, because I forgot to save it last week. So Mr. Rushworth is actually a Pro-Am, not a Pro. So let's change that. And let's also change Mr. Ben Brook to a Pro-Am as well. So James Scott's got himself another pole position. Sheafy is ready to run his way forward and battle his way towards another victory as well. But could be a tough night for him if somehow a bit of spritz does end up on the track. Maybe with a time jump here towards the race could lead us to getting some rain happening, but only time will tell. The weather gods may have a plan for us just yet, as the gridding's about to begin.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the radar there, and with our doing just changed, and the rain might be coming, so who knows? There might be a few drivers out there doing qualifying on the wet setup just to be adjusted to that compared to the dry. So it'll be intriguing to see what's going to happen. But the track temperature had dropped down 4 degrees already, so, and the temperature itself is dropping as well. So yeah, the wind is coming, the rain is coming, and hopefully when it comes down, it cause a bit of havoc to a few of these drivers.
Well, we'll have a look at our starting grid for race 2 of the evening. James Scott will start pole position. Head of Blake Warboys on the front row of the grid. Angus Lawford, Billy Mole for your top 4, with Dylan Gray and Troy Stonestreet for the top 6. Jaden Green, Ryan Mueller for the top 8. Green will start pole for the Pro-AMC this evening. Jace Douglas, Troy Dooley for your top 10. Stephen Banks, John Gallen then for the top 12 in behind them. Trav Daly, Andrew Rushworth, the top 14 with Alan Dawson, Chris Burridge, Will Buchanan, Dave Arney, Blake Urquhart, and Mitch Noble for the top 20. Dom Grundy, Brandon Levin, Peter Baxter, Andrew Cowan for your top 24. with Peter Pavlovic making up the final spot of drivers to set times in qualifying. Greg Sharp not setting a time. We'll see if he starts the race this evening. Our race controllers once again, Greg Barber, the chief race steward, Matt Keane, the offsider, and Sam Katakazinas, the safety car driver as well. Let's see, though. Let's see how this sorts itself out. James Scott is on the grid and ready to rock and roll for the Chiefs here this evening. Only a couple of seconds until the lights will go up for them. Do we get chaos lap 1 once again? Do we get a safety car in this race? Well, it's only going to be old Father Time who will tell us what will happen in this race. As the lights go up and the revs rise for these drivers. Race 2 of the evening, round 5 of the season. James Scott and Blake Warboys on the front row. And we're underway here this evening as well as we run it up towards the line and towards turn 1. Scott leads, Warboys P2. And as Lawford tucks in behind, here comes Warboys. They're going to go side by side with Scott early here at this point of the race. They're nearly 3-1 in the background. They managed to make it through turn 1 nice and cleanly and down through 2 and 3 as well. Baxter has started from pit lane. But as the scrambling continues on, here comes Lawford on Warboys down the inside at turn 4. Tucks it up on him. Needs to be careful. He's got his teammate Billy Mullen behind as the rear gunner. Dylan Gray in the top 5. Stone Street Mueller as well. And Jace Douglas is leading it for the Pro-Ams. Jaden Green's had a horrid start. He's down 2 already.
Yeah, unfortunately not a great start for Green, but he does got 40 minutes to recover that and get back in front of Douglas. But great start from Scott, almost a second, if not a second, above Lawford already. His Warboys is... No, he's actually lost a position, I just noticed that. So
yeah, as Andrew Cowan there, I think had a minor spin. He has kept it going. So yeah, Warboys lost the spot to Lawford down at turn 4. Who tucked it up on the inside of him. Billy Mole getting into an intense battle now with Dylan Gray in behind. Stone Street's there too, so these guys could start tag teaming. I mean, there's 2 Pelicans there as well of Gray and Mueller, so we could be on here for a bit of WKMP and PER battling happening between each other as Warboys looks to take it on with Angus Lawford for P2, but it is allowing James Scott just to stretch the legs a little bit at the end of lap 1. Top 7 all-pro cars at the moment. P8 and 9, Douglas and Jaden Green, who has taken back the lead of the Pro-Am class from Jace Douglas. Banksy's into the top 10 as well. Dooley's just dropped out of the top 10 at the moment. Biggest gainer thus far, though, Brandon Levin up 4 spots into P18 on the road as well. As Dawson is trying to get the job done on him in the right. SimSports car, he has done that now, drops Levin down as he makes a mistake at turn 3. Contact with Mitch Noble, the newest driver of Apex Esports League, as Lawford and Warboys swap positions once again at turn 3 and 5. Oh, sorry, 4 and 5. And just an unfortunate moment there for Brandon Levin.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate for him and for Noble as well for getting caught up in that. Hopefully there's not much damage on the car. But
now I want to ask you this, Sheafy, obviously, because Sinker kept it very diplomatic. Your thoughts on Mitch Noble going to Apex Esports League?
Obviously, you asked a great person, because obviously someone that just changed in off season as well. I think, you know, if you're leaving the civil matter and just want to expand your knowledge and people around you, it's the best thing to do. Don't keep yourself committed to one place, because you might be blocking the doors for other opportunities. So yeah, Mitch Noble probably just felt comfortable around those people and just wanted to see where this new experience take him. So they might be offering him something that he wants, for himself.
Maybe an opportunity just to improve. I mean, they've got some good drivers in that team, and maybe he feels that this new opportunity is going to lead to him obviously getting an opportunity to learn from some faster drivers, and maybe he felt he had outgrown SRW Motorsports possibly. I'm unsure, but there's always a multitude of reasons why drivers change teams, as Mueller gets it up the inside of his teammate Dylan Gray. Jaden Green looking to tuck the nose there as well, so maybe some team play from them. Getting Mueller onto the front line, and Gray playing the team game here of sitting in behind him. He's another driver who changed teams at the start of the year from his own team, DK Motorsports, which it appears has folded, to now joining the Pacific Esports Racing crew, the Majors Garage entry as well. They've got another teammate and Stephen Banks further back from them, as well as John Gallen and Blake Urquhart outside of the top 10.
Yeah, no, it's a good pickup from the Pelican drivers, to get a fast driver onto their team. Obviously, it's good for Gray, who can learn a few things from them, and the other way around as well. Might be able to help them get a tenth or two that they're missing to push them forward in the grid, which is working out at the moment.
Look at those skies, Sheafy. It is grey. It is grey, grey, grey. Clouds ahead in the skies. I was hoping for a better view than that one. It's not going to give it to me though as we run down towards the start-finish line and in towards turn 1 as well. The pressure that is applied by Jaden Green at the moment on Dylan Gray, they could really start to heat up. But Wallboys has started to react here. He's now started to break away from Angus Lawford just a little bit. He's got a couple of seconds up to James Scott in P1. They're about 2.3 seconds, but starting to react, possibly starting to chase him down. And he might just be trying to just close that gap and apply some pressure prior to the pit stop, just in case they need to stop for wet tyres later in this one.
Yeah, obviously they'll be looking at the radar, trying to calculate everything, calculate the fuel, the tyres, everything like that, to see where the turning point is. You never know, it could be one lap fine and dandy, oh yep, we can go another lap, and before you know it, turn 3 or 4, you're off the track because it's too wet. So that's the best thing about Interlagos, the track is big, massive, it can rain in one section and not another, so it'll be interesting to see exactly how it's going to pour down, if it does pour down, but definitely looking forward to the next 30 minutes to see what happens.
And which spots as well start to pull up with some water, because the drainage here is quite interesting. That little section there of around about turn 8 through 10, you can get some big pools of water right on the inside of the corner, which then forces drivers to take the outside lines, which you never want to do at that part of the track. So it's going to be a tough balancing act for some drivers out there. Jaden Green at the moment hot on the heels of Dylan Gray up towards turn 1. Right on board with him now in the Project 36 entry. He wants the outside line. He's getting a bit of a squeeze though from Gray. Well, he can't really go any further than that, can he, Sheafy? He's on the edge of the track.
Yeah, obviously Green did the right thing not to make any contact there, but Gray just got the device to stop him from trying to make an overtake. And really, when you look at it, Gray had Miller in front as well that he wants to try and create an opportunity to make a move as well and keep ahead with the pack ahead. Don't want to battle too much with the cars behind.
We continue riding on board with him. Blake Urquhart is at a minor off track down at, I'm going to assume, turn 1. So let's see what's happened here to the PER driver. Oh, he just clipped that grass on the outside, got it a bit loose, and then had to traverse turn 2 in the end, let his teammate John Gallen through. Oh, sorry, Dave Arney, actually. That was another Pelican that's out there with us. And Peter Pavlovic as well. So there's a couple of them. Great to have you in the chat with us, James. Hopefully you fixed the tech issues you were facing yesterday. Hope everything's all right. I hope you caught the end of the stream as well, because that was a wild end to that one yesterday. Got his champion prediction right yesterday as well, Sheaf. He didn't miss Parfit, so...
Oh, he'll be delighted with that one.
He will be. He loves getting a prediction right. What have you missed? You've missed one of the best supercars battles we've seen all season. In split 2 for P3, went on for about 5 laps to the end of the race, and I think they were two of the drivers were too wide for nearly a whole lap, Sheafy, so that was an incredible one. You missed James Scott taking another pole position for himself. We're only 9 minutes into split 1, to be fair, so you missed the whole split 2 race, which the best part was that battle for P3, and at the moment I think for split 1, best part has been this sort of mid-pack battle as well. The Discord app was crashing his PC. Very interesting.
That technical difficulties, it's amazing. Like, you think, there's someone just went off right behind him. Was that not Green?
Yeah, that was Jaden Green. He's still going.
Ooh, very lucky there. But yeah, it's nothing worse than, you just want to do your job, and it's just one little gremlin in the PC that just ruins your night. And sometimes it's so hard to track down because you go, oh, it could be this, could be that, and then before you know it, it's something completely different, and you're just oblivious to it. So it happens as well in racing, you know. There's a few drivers out there that get the wild packet loss because of internet issues or just PC issues, and it can be very daunting, especially if you're battling for the win.
I think one of the other daunting things is, well, in sim racing or in sim broadcasting, we have we have mechanical failures too, whether it's our rig having an issue where you've experienced your pedals breaking or your wheel breaking, or with your PC overheating and crashing or stuff like that. And it's just like real racing where you have problems with the car, and there's not much more you can do than try and fix it on the fly, and if you can't, then you've got to park it up for the night and try again tomorrow. So there are still some similarities even in the virtual world to real life racing as well. That battle between Jaden Green and Jace Douglas is really heating up now, and me and Sinker spoke about it on Sunday. We see Jace get into a battle recently and we almost wince sometimes because we want him to try and do well, and he's had some great battles, to be fair to him, but he has gotten into some hairy moments as well. But he's doing well here tonight. He's P9 where he started the race, and he's hot on the heels of his class leader, Jaden Green, for that Pro-Am class.
Nah, he's done a good job keeping the pressure up. He knows that Green's got a bit of pace on him at the moment, so just stick right behind him. Let Green battle with Gray, try and burn out his tyres a bit, try and overuse the fuel a bit, just put a bit of strategy into it as well. Still half an hour to go. No point trying to win the race in lap 1. You've got 40 minutes to do it, and he's doing the right thing at the moment.
As we continue battling forward here at the moment, we watch young Jace Douglas as he battles with Jaden Green and Dylan Gray up ahead of him. And that's what we love to see. We love to see these good battles as well. JP saying I missed the V8s, I suck, but I had fun. These cars, if you can get up to speed with them, James, they are. I actually prefer them over the Gen 2. I prefer driving these cars. But they do have some tough learning curves about them, whether it's picking the right throttle mapping or just getting yourself set up correctly as well. But no, they are a fun car to drive, and I do miss racing them on a Tuesday night when I was racing in Debs whilst it was still a thing. So maybe one day I'll be racing again on a Tuesday, but we'll have to wait and see.
I definitely believe having the right set of pedals as well can go a very, very long way in the V8 Supercars as well, which is making your throttle. Just one thing for sure, just like with my pedals, compared to a few others, yeah, you can race, you can be quick enough, but just you're not going to be consistent.
You need that throttle and brake feel in these cars, especially because you got to learn, obviously, throttle control, but also when to trail brake, when not to trail brake, understand how the car's reacting whilst you're under brakes as well, and you just don't get that feel in some pedals out there. High-end pedals, they're obviously your best bet because you're going to get more feel out of them, but it's I agree with you. I think it's definitely something to think about when you may be building yourself a rig. As Andrew Cowan has gone around down at turn 6, tries to get it going again. James is looking to race in my ARCA series that I have coming up, so it should be good to see. Oh, he just clipped the back of Pav's car and it just went round.
Yeah, it looks like he slammed on the brakes to not touch him then and just went for a loop. Unfortunate there, but there's a battle though. Gray, Green and Douglas have moved position left, right and centre, so it's been such a good battle so far tonight as well. The other drivers as well, with Banks, Julie as well on the tail of that battle pack, but good battling so far for a few drivers.
So as we can see as well, Angus Lawford has now got Billy Mole starting to chase him down for P3 on the road, as Lawford has just had a massive blink. I think he's just reappeared ahead of Mole, so if that continues to happen, we may see Billy call that in the hopes that that he can either continue racing or having to get that internet issue fixed if it persists. Our closest battle on track, though, is still Jaden Green, Jace Douglas, and Dylan Gray leading this battle pack. And it is they're getting into a little bit of a train at the moment, Sheafy, but I do feel that I think they are actually starting to get into the point of they may be trying to fuel save to go long, just in case the pit stop can line up with the rain downpour, if it happens, because the skies are looking a bit grey around this circuit.
Yeah, they definitely wouldn't look at the radar and go, let's go as long as possible. You have to go as long as possible because you just don't know when the rain's going to happen. And the last thing you want to do is go into a pit stop and then 2 laps later it starts pouring down rain and then you're like, oh, there goes my race. So these drivers here, they're definitely...
Sheafy, there's rain.
It's raining.
I've just seen droplets on the screen. It is beginning to rain as Dylan Gray drops the spot to Jaden Green. So this could now completely change the game as the windscreen wipers will begin to... Oh my God, it's immediate. The spray is immediate on track. So what has Cowie done in this weather? The rain is beginning to fall and the spray is beginning to come off. So now the question is, when do drivers come in for new tyres? When do they come in for the wets and commit to the pit stop? Because we know that the last possible moment you can change over, Sheafy, is when it is declared wet by your iRacing spotter. That is the last possible time you can come in to change over to the wet tyres. But I think realistically, if they know that the changeover is your lap times have dropped by, I think it's around about 3 or 4 seconds, that's when you've got to come in for those wets.
I mean, and honestly, this is Interlagos. I mean, we have seen the rain just come and pour and just change it in under a lap. So it is realistic, right on Cowie. Nothing wrong with that with the rain. Just keep an eye out on the leader. It is pit tailing in certain sections, not fully on the track, and he decides to... He's not going to the pitch, so he's gone out for another lap, which is very interesting. But there's a few drivers behind him with 5-10 gap interval as well, staying out. So interesting strategy. They all believed one more lap.
Oh, Lawford's coming in. So Lawford's coming in. He's looking to jump the gun. The problem is, Steph, so Steph's saying I'd go in now to get a bit of heat into them. The problem is we don't know how spotty the rain's going to be, so you don't know how wet the track's actually going to get. They're not losing grip at the moment, and if you come in too early on the wet tyres, you can actually overheat them and then completely ruin the grip into them. So you have to balance this correctly. There's only spray we've seen, Sheafy, it's the top side of the circuit. There's really only any spray at the top of the hill from sort of turn 12 up to around here at turn 4-5. We didn't really see any spray on the last lap at least, between turns 6 and turns 11, but there is a little bit of spray starting to form. So this is now going to change it up for us. We'll see what it looks like for Angus Lawford, who's just exited pit lane. Green's also come in for those wets, as has Andrew Rushworth and Trav Daly as well. So this is now going to be crucial balancing act for these drivers.
Yeah, looking at the lap time, a lot of drivers were 2 seconds, if not more, off their pace. So the weather is definitely interfering as well. So the further behind the pack you are, the more interference it is. But I believe that mostly a fishtail everywhere on track. As we see, Stephen Banks off the track, so I'm assuming that he just couldn't handle it with the dry tyres now that the rain came in.
James Scott's in, so he's coming in for those wets. He feels it's too wet for the dry tyres. Warboys is going another lap. So this is a very interesting... We've seen this strategy not pay off before for James Scott. If we recall back to Okayama, when we had the variable weather, Billy Mole, Stone Street, Mueller were all in as well. So we saw it at Okayama last season where it didn't pay off for Scott. Douglas has also stayed out. And of course we saw it at Winton where Warboys was an absolute weapon in the wet. And he put that car to an absolute winning strategy. So tonight, I think right now with the rain, Warboys could be the one to beat at the moment here, Sheafy, because he's proven that he's become a bit of a rain master.
Yeah, very interesting here. You know, Warboys doing that for another lap. The same thing as Douglas as well. So again, looking at the lap time, they are 5 to 7 seconds off their pace, but just trying to look at, you know,
they're not. Are they? I think that the question's going to be, what was the lap time from Lawford? It was, well, he only just came out of pit, so it was a 2:10 the last lap. So we're really only going to get a kind of comparison by the time he comes around again, because we need to be able to see if Warboy's lap times are actually any slower than the guys on the wet tyres. So Stone Street had a minor off track, he's still going, but I would assume Blake's going to pit this lap because you wouldn't want to go another lap. I think it's too wet now for dries. He's going to have to come in. It was a very quick downpour, as in fact James Scott has just caught Jace Douglas. Oh, and Warboys is off at turn 12. So he's definitely gone one lap too long. He's gone one lap too long. Yep, and he's gone off. Douglas is struggling on those dries. James Scott is now hot on the heels of Jace Douglas here, so it's now going to be, I think, James Scott's to lose at this point of the race, unless there's a safety car as Blake Warboys comes in. So Blake's in, Scott's past Douglas. We expect Jace to come in as well. He does. And now these battles continue on of Billy Mole, Ryan Mueller and Troy Stone Street for P4 on the road. Sheafy's computer is absolutely over-encoding at the moment from the rain on the old second screen.
Definitely would be.
So Andrew Cowan is at an off-track. Troy Dooley as well has been off the road down at turn 12. So maybe catching that AstroTurf on the outside of the circuit there, Sheafy could have caused him to go off then. As the drivers continue their battle on forward. 20 minutes into this race. We're at the halfway point. Everyone has taken a pit stop, so now it's going to be a race of survival for these drivers out on the road. Let's see what happened to Blake Warboys down at turn 12 and how he actually ended up off the road down there. And again, I'm going to assume he's caught that wet curb on the outside and it's gone round and maybe just the smallest bit.
I don't think the curb, it just hit a little bit of a bump where most people go off if they are over throttle, and that's just what happened. No traction there at all.
Let's see this here. Yeah, just a little bit too much throttle, and round she went. So a bit too confident on the gas, and Blake Warboys has gone round. He's come out of pit lane in P4, but he is on those wet tyres. We know how good he is in the rain. So now he's going to be battling his way forward in this one. He's got Ryan Mueller up ahead of him. His teammate Billy Mole is on the podium as well. And then James Scott 17.6 seconds up the road from him. So he's going to need a safety car now, does Blake Warboys, to get back into this race.
Yeah, lost a lot of time from the off track and going one more lap. I mean, I'm not 100% sure how many boys here watch the Formula 1, but when the rain comes to Brazil, you got to pit straight away. No point trying to play brave and survive another lap. It just ends up biting you, and that's what happened there for him. Same thing as well with Jace Douglas. He lost a bit of time as well with the battle of green and grey as well.
I think the problem is you can never determine how quick the downpour is actually going to be and how quick it's going to get wet. So of course it got wet within 2 laps, and it got wet enough for wet tyres in 2 laps. So it's a relatively speaking quick downpour scenario at this point of the race. So some other races we've had it where it starts to rain and it takes maybe 4 or 5 laps for it to get wet. So, you know, it's such a hard balancing act and such a hard determination. And Warboys maybe just played a bit of a gamble to get it past James Scott, but it hasn't paid off for him thus far. But we'll see what the lap times are like when he crosses the line this time by, because that'll really tell us what the sort of pace is for Warboys comparatively to James Scott, who did a 47.25 on that last lap.
Yeah, everyone's on wet. The rain is still coming. Fishtail is getting bigger as well, so these drivers here got to speed up and continue to put their window wipers on, because it's going to be a very, very wet and wild race for the last 17 minutes.
I agree. It is going to be as intense as it possibly could, and I think for these drivers, I mean, it is balance time. It's try and balance your throttle, balance your brake, balance the tyres, and how smooth your steering and other inputs are, because there is now no room for drivers to begin to push forward. I've just seen as well Sam Katakazinas has hopped into the safety car. I hope Sam realises that he is on the dry tyres at the moment, so he's gonna have to make sure that he actually changes to the
Change
wets.
to
I
the
might
wets,
just
yeah.
send them a message actually into the RC chat and just let them know.
Yeah, it would be a very awkward moment when you go out there and you spin around doing donuts under the safety car. You see James got here taking a nice good advantage of 18 seconds. So Billy Moore was Ryan Miller in third. Blake Warboys, even though he was P2 for most of the race, unfortunately dropped down to fourth after going out and staying on the track for one lap too much on the drive. But great battle here with John Gallen as well, with Levin and Daly as well. Coming to turn one, a little bit close there, but enough room. Side by side almost into turn two. Nice clean racing from the boys there.
It's good to see this sort of racing as well in the wet too, Sheafy. You know, just seeing this clean racing between them it's good to see. And normally, we've seen in the past. You've seen it firsthand in the cockpit of the SFL or the GR86, but we've also seen it obviously in the broadcast booth as well. Just how chaotic the wet can be, and how much it can actually then throw drivers off, and how many incidents we could possibly have. We've got 15 minutes left of this session, so plenty of time for action to happen in terms of chaos, but they're looking good at the moment. They're looking good at keeping it clean, and this is probably one of the tougher cars to drive in the wet conditions out there as well.
Definitely correct on that. But, it's a nightmare if you get stuck behind two cars side by side, because you cannot see anything at all ahead of you. It doesn't matter if you go to the left, to the right, to the middle, you cannot see a thing. So these drivers here, once it starts raining and the fishtail is so big, you just rely on instance and no muscle memory of where your braking point is, where your corner is and everything like that. But all these drivers here, they're keeping it nice and clean. Barely any errors whatsoever, and it shows such a high skill there. You see Gallen just doing a little bit of fishtailing coming out of the last corners, but nice and clean from the boys so far, and intrigued to see if Billy Moore can continue to hold on P2.
Yeah, we'll see if Mole can hold it. Mueller on the podium as well in P3. Warboys is hot on their heels at the moment with Angus Lawford and Troy Stonestreet chasing them down as well. Not too much of a loss for Warboys through all of that, but I think the biggest loss is the time that he gave up to James Scott, as Will Buchanan's had a minor off track. Brandon Levin's been off the road as well at turn one. So drivers are struggling at the moment. And I do have a feeling here, Sheafy, that we may not be too far away from just a mistake bad enough that we see the safety car get called, because, these are tough and trying conditions, and Scott wouldn't want a safety car for sure, but the guys like Mole, Mueller, Warboys, Lawford, Stonestreet, they would love to see the safety car called, because it's going to bring them right back into the battle for this race win.
Yeah, looking at the lap time too, they're starting to get a little bit quick as well, so they're getting comfortable. They got tyres up to temperature as well, so. Yeah, James Scott, the very lucky man at the moment to have 20 seconds. He done it all himself as well. Hit it at the right time. Got the gap from the get-go. See no further action there between the two cars.
Yeah, 778 and 777. So Urquhart and Daly, one number separates them on there. Oh, it's Mueller and Mole get door to door. Mole got unsettled. That might need to be a redress. I'm not sure. We'll see what RC say. Mole has called it in. And, of course, he's let his teammate Warboys through on this one, it seems. But if this is a redress, this is going to give Blake Warboys P2 on the road ahead of Ryan Mueller here. So, quite interesting. 10-point post-race penalty coming the way of Travis Daly car 777 for an incident on lap 14 at turn 4. So, there was no further action on another incident he had with Blake Urquhart, but he has been given a penalty for whatever's happened at turn 4 on that lap. So big pressure now as Mole's getting passed by Angus Lawford, because I think Lawford knows as well, if Mueller has to redress this, it's going to end up being that Lawford will then get on the podium behind Warboys here. So this could pay massive dividends for him.
Yeah, just got to be patient, Waddy. You don't want to make a mistake. You know the car ahead of you made a mistake, and it's going to give you the opportunity to try and get past as well. But last thing you want to do is make the same error and ruin your chance of the look at the replay here.
Trav Daly down at it's turn 4 there. Oh, he ran it way wide.
Much.
It wasn't too bad
Kept it
actually.
straight,
Now.
though.
He kept it straight.
Oh no.
Oh, Andrew Cowan. Andrew Cowan could be paying for the decision of making this race, but he's still going. But man, oh man, this race is becoming a battle for everything here as Moles now dropped off right off the back of Angus Lawford.
Yeah, just lost a lot of pace there, which isn't good to see. You see the battle for P2 between Miller and Warboys. Warboys, he wants to resurrect his error from earlier. He had P2 in his hand and thrown it out the window a bit. Oh, Miller.
Oh,
just
got
hitting the
real,
curb there.
yeah, real loose.
Jeez. Never touch the curb, especially on wet, because 9 out of 10 times you are going around and you're not recovering. That was very, very fortunate there that he didn't take himself out or anyone else out then.
Yeah, it's it's the old adage of avoid anything that's painted or colourful. Just stick to the black stuff. Stick to the tarmac. Don't touch any of the paint. Don't touch any of the curbs. And if it's shiny as hell, try and stay off it, because it's very likely you could end up spun around. As Stephen Banks is off the road further back in the field. He's kept it going though. Oh, there, no, he hasn't though. Sorry, there he is there. It's a minor spin for him. He's back going again. But, I mean, in this mid-pack, drivers are just struggling at the moment to keep their car in a line astern and keep themselves in the battle, as Dawson and Buchanan battling here for P11. Urquhart and Noble battling for P13 as well. The drivers are going to have to be careful now, Sheafy, on off tracks here. I've noticed as well, Dylan Gray is on apparently dry tyres according to my SDK.
Ah, surely not. It was way too wet for it. You saw Warboys just...
He's on
lost
dries.
20 seconds.
It's claiming he is on dry tyres, so unless this is a glitch in the system, then Dylan Gray may be on dry tyres at the moment. But the way that his car's gripping up, it doesn't seem like he is.
Yeah, no, that is so bizarre there. Obviously, sometimes there's a bit of errors in the electronics, and I believe that's the case, because no way on earth he's keeping the same lap time as everyone on the red.
Oh, Stone Street, a massive moment. Clips the curb. Couple of drivers have gone off there so far. That is a massive save from Stoney, as I think Will Buchanan's off the road at turn 1. So drivers are exiting stage left and right. Here, there, and everywhere each lap goes by. But is Dylan Gray still on the dry tyres, or is he on the wets? I mean, it's we can't really tell from our shot cam here, because we can't see the grooves in the tyre. But if he's on dries, he's doing an exceptional job at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very risky play to be on dry tyres if he is on dries. You only went into the pit once as well with everyone else, so you'd presume when you went in, that's wet tyre time and that's it. So, yeah, obviously if he's on dries, that's a phenomenal drive, and he will get the advantage if it stops raining, but at the moment I don't think it's going to stop.
It's a very weird scenario at play once again. Blake Warboys has now gotten past Ryan Mueller, as we said, P2 on the road for him. Mueller P3. I don't know if we've been updated yet or not. Car 553, we have been updated. Lap 17, turn 1 between Billy Mole, Ryan Mueller was an NFA call, so Billy Mole not getting the redress position from Ryan Mueller in this one. So Mueller remains on the podium for this race, but Lawford could be looking to hunt him down and take away that P3 from the young Ryan Mueller.
Hey, well, Stone Street still out on the track as well. He didn't go to the pits to fix his front end up, so it's looking a bit busted at the moment. There's definitely nothing there protecting the wheels, so I'll be intrigued to see how much time he loses compared to everyone else with that.
Trav Daly's been given a black and white warning flag for driving excessively slow on the racing line after rejoining on lap 14 at turn 4.
Fair enough. I know the few drivers were going off the track then.
Yeah,
because of the rain.
Stephen Banks down at turn 1, so another driver exits stage left down at turn 1. It's almost... There's almost some sort of electricity in the air here, Sheafy, where we're waiting for someone to end up off track bad enough for the safety car's call. But I mean, we're only 30-odd seconds away from the 35-minute mark, which likely means we're going to go green the whole way in this race as James Scott crosses the line. Start lap 21. Blake Warboys behind, about 21.3 seconds. So the win looks to be away from him in this one here, barring a James Scott mistake. The P2, P2 is well on the line for Blake Warboys here with Ryan Mueller hot on his heels.
These drivers here, they're driving exceptionally well. No safety car again tonight, which is really good to see from both splits. Obviously kept it nice and clean. I know there's a bit of incident. Stephen Banks just parked there on the side. Yeah. I know he's had a bit of a forward run in the last couple of laps, but yeah, it looks like he's destroyed the front end by the looks.
And he's been allowed to tow back to pits. Well, he was already crashed at that point, so he's had another moment.
There's a few cars with no front end.
So we saw him exit the road. Oh, that's why he ended up off track at turn 1. And that's why he was without a front end. Oh, and then it self-fixed itself. So that's why he looked okay on our screen when we checked on him.
Yeah, then it would have fell off halfway down the straight.
Yeah, so obviously it's fallen off. The steering's likely broken on that car, and that's why he's had to pull it up and tow back to pit lane, and that's the end of his race here tonight. Unfortunately for Stephen Banks of Pacific Esports Racing, as Chris Burridge has also had a moment as well down at turn 1, and it's another front end loss for a car down there, overextending the braking zone at 1. So the drivers are struggling up there for the turn 1 incidents at this stage. And I think he's not out there, that's fine. So I mean this could mean now though, Sheafy, that a mistake could happen from any of these drivers up the front of the field. Just a small mistake under brakes, missing your braking marker by only a metre or so, could lead to you off the track at turn 1 and into the wall with a broken car.
Yeah, that's the last thing you want to do, especially when there's only a couple of laps left to go. I know a few drivers are fighting for position at the moment, like Warboys and Miller. They'd be hoping for James Scott to make a mistake, but to be honest,
when does he make a mistake? Yeah, when does he make a mistake? It's very rare. Very, very rare of James Scott to make a mistake of that magnitude. As Billy Mole, Lawford and Gray continue their battle for P4 as well. As Lawford gets it real loose off the exit of turn 3. So Dylan Gray's actually begun to chase these guys down. If he's on dries, are the dries all of a sudden the more beneficial tyre choice? Well, I'm not sure, especially with that spray. And I don't even know if we can confirm or not if he's even on dry tyres or wets. It's claiming he's on dries, but it has been known to glitch every now and again and miscalculate what drivers have taken over their stop. And he stopped for tyres, so I don't know. Hands are up in the air on what he's on or what he's not. So we've only 2 minutes 15 seconds left, Sheafy. Where is James Scott? He's coming up and around, so probably 2 more laps left to go in this race. 1, and then the white flag will get thrown by Barney out there as James Scott comes up towards the line. It's going to be tight, actually, for the white flag. I think he has started the next lap, though, in time. So 2 laps to go for James Scott. And for Blake Warboys and Ryan Mueller on the podium at the moment. Jaden Green leads the way for the Pro-Am class. All on his lonesome. He's got 9 seconds back to his closest competitor in Jace Douglas, who's got 0.8 of a second behind him to Andrew Rushworth for this Pro-Am battle. But what a race tonight for James Scott, and even for Blake Warboys to come back here, Sheafy, after that moment down at turn 12 when he was still on the dry tyres when it started raining.
You know, it's been very good to recover. You know, he could have easily lost his composure, overdrove the car and make another mistake, but he decided to stick behind the 2 boys ahead of him and, you know, just slowly work on them. He probably knew that the lead was out of reach, he definitely knew that P2 was still in his grasp and done a right job with that. Just he believe that carry off the road there.
Yeah, he's had an off track prior to that, so maybe just try and reset his race at the moment and just get it finished. He has made 75%, so he will get points for his position at the very least of that. But yeah, just a tough night on the road for Andrew Cowan, it seems, as Dom Grundy has come back into pit lane for whatever reason. And for James Scott, he has got around about 20 seconds to get to the line. Do we think maybe he just pulls it up and saves us going another lap here, Sheafy?
Oh, I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't trust iRacing at all for that. Just continue going through it. Obviously, he would have made sure he got the right amount of fuel as well. Did you see Barney's waving the white flag?
Literally with about 2 seconds on the clock, James Scott has pulled it up and started to drive round for his white flag lap. One more lap for Warboys to survive in P2 with Ryan Mueller hot on his ginger in P2 on the road at the moment. They get the white flag from Barney. One more to go. It's a massive lock-up from Ryan Mueller into turn one, and off the road he goes. Could this cost him a podium? It's going to be a slowdown when he re-enters the circuit. Billy Mole is entering turn two at the moment, but how much is that moment there going to cost Ryan Mueller now? Because that was a big loss on track, and that there is going to be a big old slowdown for him as well. Could it be on here for Billy Mole to steal P3 away from his championship rival in Ryan Mueller? He looks to be a little bit too far away for that to happen.
Yeah, that's a massive error there. That just gave the two drivers. Oh, no.
Dylan Gray's gone up his inside and he's knocked him off the road.
How did he keep control of that?
Oh, I don't know. I do not know. But that's now given Angus Lawford P4 once again. So a lifeline for Ryan Mueller there, saving his podium, it seems, as Blake Warboys runs around in P2 and James Scott runs it up towards turn 12. And for his final run to the line here this evening and around turn 13, he will come for the final time. The checkered flag will fly here in Sao Paulo, Brazil, for Interlagos this evening in the rain, in the wet weather. James Scott will take the win in round 5 of the season. Blake Warboys will take home P2 on the road with plenty of time in behind him. Those wipers are doing absolutely nothing on that car as he takes home P2 when he gets up to the start-finish line. And then Ryan Mueller, who's been on the grass at turn 12, comes up to the line and he will survive in P3 with Angus Lawford, Billy Mole, Dylan Gray for your top 6, and then Jaden Green, who started on pole for the Pro-Ams, will take the win for the Pro-Ams tonight in the exact position he started in P7. Stone Street Douglas and Andrew Rushworth will take home the top 10. Up 4 spots tonight as well, and a great effort. Biggest mover inside the top 10, Ryan Mueller up 5. Biggest mover for the whole race, Peter Pavlovic, up 8 positions at this stage. And an incredible night out at Interlagos. And a wet, wet affair for these drivers as well.
Yeah, definitely two sides of the track. Half of it dry, half of it wet. Made it a lot of entertaining racing and strategies tonight. And obviously James Scott was just too good for the rest, unfortunately. And the rest had to play second fiddle.
Well, unfortunate for them, we'll say. We'll say unfortunate for the rest of the field. Fortunately for him, I would say. But it was a great run, though, from him. And it means that he's gotten himself another race win on the board this season. This is where he took back the lead from, well, took back P2 from Jace Douglas, but it was the effective lead of the race. As well as we await our provisional race results here this evening. But it's been a good night on the road. Been a good night on the road. Been a good night of racing for both splits tonight. Of course, a wet race for split 1, a dry race for split 2, but foggy conditions for split 2, which made it quite difficult for the drivers to get their heads around things, make some mistakes out there as well. And then split one, the driver's really, really struggling, Sheafy, with these wetter conditions where it was as slippery as all hell and drivers just struggling to find that grip.
Yeah, definitely a different balance of speed between two splits and two conditions as well. But obviously, I enjoyed tonight. It was nice and entertaining. A lot of drivers showed their skills, and yeah, it's definitely the level between going from dries to wet can be very difficult at times. I think a lot of people handle it pretty well. Just a couple of small errors, especially coming out of turn 3 or 4, where you got the curb on the outside. I know a few drivers touched that a bit, lost the back end, but other than that, been pretty good.
So James Scott takes the victory tonight. Maximum points on the board for him. Blake Warboys on the podium with Ryan Mueller in P3. Angus Lawford, Billy Mole, the top 5. Dylan Gray, the top 6. Jaden Green takes the Pro-Am victory tonight, so we'll be chatting to him and James Scott post-race. Troy Stonestreet, Jace Douglas, Andrew Rushworth for your top 10. Alan Dawson, Will Buchanan, Mitch Noble, Trav Daly, John Gallen for your top 15. A good comeback there from Noble after that contact early in the race down at turn 3 with Brandon Levin. Peter Pavlik, Dave Arney, Brandon Levin, Peter Baxter for our top 19 drivers in the end. And as we look further back, well, no, that's the wrong one. Let's click this one. Further back, we have Blake Urquhart, Troy Dooley, Dom Grundy, Andrew Cowan, Chris Burridge, and Stephen Banks at the back of the field, 4 laps down. Unfortunately, there for Stephen, 3 laps down for Burridge. So their race and nights finished out a little bit earlier than what they possibly would have hoped for out on circuit here this evening. We have got James Scott in the green room waiting to come and have a chat to us. We'll wait a moment here to see if Jaden Green's going to join in as well so we can have a chat to him. I don't even know if he knows he actually won his class tonight, Sheafy. He has. So first up tonight, we've got Jaden Green, who'll be catching up with Tyler Sheaf as the Pro-Am winner for the evening.
G'day, Jaden. Congratulations on winning the Pro-Am class and P7 overall. How did you find tonight, mate?
Oh, sorry, mate. My game chat was still going off. I missed that.
No, I was just saying congratulations for the win in your class and P7 overall. How did you find tonight's race with the dry at the start and coming into a wet race?
Oh, it was tricky. It was very tricky. But luckily, I was able to get some practice in this morning and see that it was going to be wet. So I ended up building a bit of a setup this morning, which ended up paying off because the car was pretty speedy in the wet, even though it was that tricky.
I've got to say, you must be really proud of yourself. I mean, to qualify P7 and maintain and not lose any positions, considering that you had a lot of battles early on before the pit stop, like you got to be pretty proud of that.
Yeah, it wasn't easy at all. Like battling, who was it? I'm having a mental blank now.
It was Dylan Gray and Jason.
Yeah, Dylan Gray and Jace Douglas. Douglas was right on my bumper the whole time that I was trying to make a move around Gray because I was a bit quicker than him in the dry. And then, yeah, any opportunity that Douglas had, he had his nose in there, so it wasn't easy at all.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, saw the challenges, of both half of the race. And when did you think that was the right time to pit? Was it the first lap when the rain came, or was it the second lap? You reckon that was the best time to pit?
First lap for sure. As soon as I seen rain on the windscreen and the tyres started spraying, I knew get in there and get the cold wets warmed up a bit, and it ended up paying off because I was able to outdrive Douglas as soon as he came out the pits.
Yeah, definitely correct on that. I know Douglas was one, same as James Scott, who decided to go out another. Wasn't James Scott, sorry. Blake Warboys went out another lap, and obviously saw they lost a few positions in time on you boys. But obviously, looking into the season as well, you've been pretty consistent. In my eyes, anyway, when I get to watch you, what's your goal for the rest of the season?
I only make half of the races because I work away, so I just rock up and try to do my best when I get here.
That's good. Obviously, have a bit of fun at the same time as well.
Yeah, that's it.
Anyway, who would you like to thank for tonight? And obviously support your sponsors and team.
Massive shout out to Cataclysm Computers because they sorted out my technical difficulties last night, which have helped me a lot. I didn't crash out at all, which was nice. So they fixed up the computer for me. Massive shout out to Shockworks, Simrig, and I think that's it. I'm having a mental blank again. Yep, that'd be it. I think we got one more.
Very good, Jaden. Thank you, thank you, Jaden, for coming to have a chat to us. Best of luck next time out on track. Congratulations on your race win for the Pro-Am class tonight in P7 overall. Very consistent performance from yourself. And yeah, as I said, best of luck when you're next out on track with us.
No worries. Cheers, boys.
Thank you. Next up on the road, we have our race winner here this evening, James Scott from the Chiefs. James, congratulations. A solid win to boot here tonight in difficult racing conditions, dry to wet conditions. The rain downpoured very, very quickly as soon as it started spitting, and then just decided to downpour. And within about a lap or so, track seemed to be wet enough for wet tyres. How was the mind making that decision to come into pit lane and taking those wets? Could you tell on circuit how quickly it was getting wet by the feel of the car, or was it more or less you kind of had a feeling that it was going to get really, really wet really, really quickly?
Yeah, no, that was good fun. I think I've only done a very few, if any, of these like dry to wet type races, which was really good fun. Yeah, I don't know, it was a pretty easy decision for me to pit. I was slightly worried maybe I'd made the wrong call when Blake went. I had no idea what was going to happen, but I think I might have put on the correct lap. I think he might have had a moment and it was pretty slippery. Yeah, I thought it was pretty slippery on the lap that I did pit. So, yeah, no, came in, could just feel underneath the car that from the previous lap to that one, it degraded quite a bit. So, yeah, one more lap was going to be pretty wild. So, yeah, I made the safe call and jumped into the pits and, yeah, turned out all right.
Yeah, it seemed that, so Blake obviously went for the gamble of going a lap longer, and I thought, well, maybe he thinks it's not going to maybe get as wet as quickly as what it did, because obviously it was about a 3-lap swing. It went from dry to beginning to spit sort of as I think it was the battle for P3 came across the line. And then by the time we traversed around 2 more laps, you were coming into pit lane. Blake went an extra lap. He ended up clipping, I think, there's a bump down at turn 12. He clipped the bump, gassed it up a little bit too early, and it went off track. Luckily, for him, he didn't hit the wall, but that gave you the lead well and truly ahead of him after that moment. But next week, we go racing a VIR. It could be a tough circuit, of course, quite tight. It's basically a giant paddock with some tarmac on it. How are you feeling leading into that one? I mean, it's not particularly a personal favourite of mine to drive, but I do know that a lot of drivers do enjoy it. Are you an enjoyer of VIR yourself, or do you think it could be a tough test for you?
I haven't driven it at all in this current car, but I used to love that VIR track in the old Gen 2 car, so I'm sure it'll be the same. Yeah, quite a good fan of that one. I'm sure it'll drive okay in this car. It might be maybe a little bit understeery with all the high speed turns and this car liking to understeer after a little bit, but yeah, nah, pretty good fan of VIR, so you're keen for it.
Very good, and well, hopefully you can continue this run of form into Sunday night's race when we're back here at Interlagos. I'm not sure what the conditions are going to be like, but might be good to keep an eye on that weather radar in the session. If it does say rain, then obviously you've had at least a little bit of race practice for that one. Let us know, James, helps get you out on track. Anyone else you want us to give a shout out to as well? For myself, Sheafy, the rest of the league, congratulations on another race win here at Interlagos, and congratulations on extending that championship lead as well.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, it was pretty zero wet practice before tonight, so it was learn every lap. Yeah, thanks to Aussie Broadband, Westfield, Logitech G. As always, couldn't do without those guys. You guys every week for the broadcast. It's pretty cool. And yeah, the series admin, the race control guys, they put in a lot of time and effort into making these things happen. So, really appreciate all the work that they do.
Very good, James. Thanks so much for coming over chat to us, mate. Best of luck on Sunday when we're back here once again. And we'll see if it's another win for you or at least another podium as well.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you. Well, Sheafy, that'll bring an end to our race here this evening. We've got quite a wacky week coming up of racing, of course. It started tonight with yourself and I in the booth for the Supercars opposed to myself and Sinker. And then tomorrow night for the Super Formula Lights, we go back to Bathurst in the SFLs, which the last time we were at Bathurst, we were in the F3 car and we had about, I think, what was it, 4 or 5 safety cars in the first 30 minutes of the race. We're doing an hour again there, so that could be quite chaotic. I also figured out quite an interesting stat on Sunday as well, Sheafy. The last time we were at Bathurst in the SFL/F3 series, Stephanie Piccoli was filling in for the regular co-commentator of Andrew Cowan with myself. This time by, she's filling in once again for the regular co-commentator of Steve Singovich with James Parfitt in the booth.
Yeah, that's very scary when you think about that. I'm not looking forward to that then. 5 safety cars for tomorrow. I know there's going to be a bit of rain tomorrow at the end of the race, so
that's going to be okay. I think you're going to get about 6 safety cars. I'm going to say, Sheafy. Skyline and the Dipper might be pure chaos, maybe pure death. Who knows? We'll wait and see. Thursday for the Toyota GR86 Nationals. It's out at Knockhill International Reverse Circuit. Another interesting co-commentator combination. Of course, James Parfitt in as the producer. Andrew Cowan will return to the comms box for the first time since joining the SFL field last year in Season 3. So for the first time since Season 2 of SRW last year, Andrew Cowan will join the comms box once again to fill in for Steve Singovich. And then Sunday night, we'll be back here at Interlagos, myself and Steve Singovich in the booth. Once again, he'll be back from his little work trip and back in the booth with me. It's been great, though. It's been great to have you back in here, Sheafy. I'd be interested to know what the chat thinks. I think it was we had some fantastic races. I'm blaming it on the fact that you were here instead of Sinker, but you know, who knows why we had some fantastic races. And I think it was just because it's a great track. It's a great track car combination, and this series has thrown up some phenomenal racing all across the season as well. So big thank you to yourself for covering for Sinker tonight and sitting with me for a couple of hours calling some Supercars action. It's been absolutely fantastic. Also want to give a big shout out to all of our series sponsors, our title sponsors, Warren & Brown Tools, for their support of the Tuesday night V8 Supercars series and the Sunday night V8 Supercars Championship as well to Moser Racing for their support of the Wednesday night Super Formula Lights Championship and for coming on board as the title sponsors of the Australian Open Wheel Nationals as well. The next instalment, the 4th instalment, will be happening at the end of this season between SRW and the GSRC as once again, so they're already prepping for track choice and how that's all going to be panning out for that one there. I'm going to assume it's going to be James Parfitt and Zach Cabin in the booth for that one. And also another shout out to all of our other series sponsors. Shunt Scenery has been a long time supporter of the series. Grim Industries, home of the V8 Coffee Table, which can be found on Prime Video, Top Gear Australia during the news, interviews and other studio segments, and as well to Phoenix Driver Development. You can message PDD on Facebook or message Rehan Leonage or Laz Leonage on Discord and get yourself set up either with some setups for the 09 Ford Falcon Supercar all the way up to the Gen 3 Supercar, or get yourself some training sessions as well. They do specialise in supercar training and setups, and as I said, do everything from the 09 Ford Falcon all the way up to the Gen 3 Supercars as well. And all of our series sponsors, as always, for all of our streams, in the description of the stream, are linked directly below. So you can find direct links to all of our series sponsors if you're wondering how to get in contact with them for whatever inquiries you may need. But for myself, Hamish Munro and Tyler Sheaf alongside, appreciate your time, appreciate your efforts here being with us once again for round 5 of Season 2 of the Warren & Brown Tools V8 Supercars series here for 2025. Out at Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace Interlagos here this evening. We'll see you guys tomorrow night with James Parfitt and Steph Piccoli in the booth for the Moser Racing SFL Championship. But until then, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, bye for now.
This is amazing. I was clash heads again. This is like Chaz Mostert and Cam Waters. Almost the same situation. Better contact going down the hill. Sam Noble wants to sniff on Dave Coleman now. Sam Noble bottle right now because tell you what, Bruce Tanak and Jamie Dyke just absolutely drove away.